I'm gonna be streaming here in a second.
Don't you fucking do it. I'm about to mute myself. I'm just gonna start dying.
3, 2.
I know, you see, somehow the world will change for me and be so wonderful. Live life, breathe air. I know somehow we're gonna get there and feel so wonderful. It's all for real. I'm telling you just how I feel. So wake up, the members of my nation. It's your time to be. There's no chance unless you take one. And the time to see the brighter side of every situation. Some things are meant to be, so give me your best and leave the rest to me. Leave it all to me. Leave it all to me. Just leave it all to me.
Welcome, chat. You're all welcome. Hold on.
I can't believe you actually did that. Oh god. Oh my god. The stream's
How are you gonna
stream-
start off the stream anything better? You came up with the
Yeah,
perfect idea.
Yeah, apparently I did by accident. You know, like 10 minutes ago we're in call and you're playing me clothespins videos unconsensually. Like, god damn. That wasn't the iCarly theme song apparently.
Yep.
Mm.
How do you exactly tag others? Put an
At
and then type out their name.
yeah, so like at DSP Gaming, get
No.
a job. Here, like I'll work those. Yeah, see, just like that.
Yep. Get a job, you e-beggar.
Yeah, so that's how you do it right there.
That is indeed how you do it.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know if we said it like last stream, but I think we're just gonna do Sunday streams. Like it's something to do.
Yeah.
So.
We don't got a lot going on Sundays anyway, so.
Yeah, facts. Let's just wait for people to kind of roll in here.
Force you to listen to videos. Someone needs to save Hashi. I literally just played like Clothespin's like most recent like YouTube short that he posted, and I just started playing that. He's like, "No, make it stop." And I'm like, "Ah, yes, the power that's now exuding through me. I have found his weakness."
Yeah.
Oh, you're lagging.
Can you not use some
You be lagging.
Lion era, but oh, still lagging? We still lagging?
Nope.
Surf?
Now you're good. Now you're good.
All right. Yeah. It's probably 90% of the issue here.
Trent's like, who's Clothespin? It's all. His name is also Pinoy Pins.
Or Andrew.
I'm not sure his real first name is out there, but
Oh, my bad, Chief. I'm pretty sure I've called him that like on stream before.
well, I'm not sure. That's why I said that.
Oh, and I was like, oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean, he thwarted my plans to crash his wedding. So I mean,
oh, we start off the stream with
Look,
$2 from Tanner. One, hey guys, I Carly the goat. So is Toby Rama. Facts. Facts.
that's not
We're starting off the stream good, boys. We
that's
starting
not
off good.
Comparison.
Yep. Actually, I should.
Peep DMs real fast, Surf.
Yep.
Yep. The peak of anti-power scaling content. I mean, we're the peak of anti-power scaling content. So
Indeed.
you know.
I mean,
Yeah,
this
the air
is
is
like
hard to breathe on top of the.
This is indeed the most anti-power scaling video of all time. So.
Yeah.
Coming from
This is the
Mr.
Plague of Gripes video.
It is.
Oh, it is. Shit, dude.
Yep.
Oh, that's a throwback.
Yep. Well, that's why
Even if
because I mentioned to Hashi before the end of the stream, did we want to watch the Power Levels Are Dumb and Stupid, or the Naruto is a Self-Made Hypocrite video?
Yep.
Because, well, recently, the reason why I said, I mentioned we should watch it is because it became a recent topic again on Twitter. And funny enough, I think Troy was the one that said it, that said, that, honestly, that Naruto fans kind of deserved a video like that.
Is there a way that I can... this goes out to chat, too. So, obviously, I have Discord open, right? So I can watch, like, Surfbone's screen, right? Mm-hmm. Is there a way I can pin the chat window? Because I have it popped out. Is there a way I can like, pin it? So it doesn't go under Discord?
I know it doesn't, like... It does it on phone. I don't know if it does it on here, though.
Yeah. What, show us tab, maybe? Alright, can I, like... Name window, new tab, task manager, close, restore.
There's a pop-out one.
Yeah, that's what I'm using. I'm using pop-out chat, right? And
Okay.
I'm wondering if I can like pin it, right? Or you know what I mean? Stay on top. Plague of Gripes is more satire than genuine. I can't speak for him. I remember back in the day, our good old friend STP445 had a beef with him.
Why did you have to say it like that? God damn it.
It's funny.
Okay. Yeah, but it's fun. Also, like, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, that's what I've heard too, is that he's more, like, his videos are more satire than they are, like, him being serious.
I mean, it's only, there should be a pin icon when you pop it out. Where, my friend? Please be super specific. I'm, like, dumb as shit half the time. Like, literally talk to me like I'm actually stupid about some of the stuff.
I know.
Oh, God.
I know that the Self-Made Hypocrite isn't a power scaling video, but I still think it would be funny because it's a more recent talking point right now. So I figured it'd be fun to watch it again. I'm not... And to kind of see whether or not, like, based on how we now view Naruto and all these other series now, and we're kind of, like, a lot more willing to critique series or give people, like, oh, you know what, Plague of Gripes actually has a point here or something when he talks about, like Naruto's, like, downfalls or whatever.
Satire is such a stupid shield from criticism. 100% straight hundreds. Like, it's like you can be satirical about something and still, like, you know, for one, be open to criticism and also make actual criticisms of your own. Like, satire isn't like this invincible shield. Actually, not a power scaling questions, but what are the chances of Lolcow Live getting Cyrax back on? Next to 0. Well, they want him back on because it's funny, but Cyrax doesn't want to go on there because all of them know that he's a PDF file.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things where, like, he was expecting all of them to, like, eat out of his hand, and they clearly weren't. So.
I'm just joking, guys. He's not joking. In parentheses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
facts.
We'll definitely.
It's like when you say I'm not racist and then follow it up with like the most racist take ever. Like, you're still racist.
Yeah, big old racist.
Racist.
You got to do the video
No
on
racism
the
in
psychology
the chat, please.
The psychology of an anti-power scaler at this point. Definitely.
Yeah,
I definitely got to make a video like that.
Fuck.
Well, because we're kind of like been dissecting every single anti-power scaling video on YouTube, more or less. We'll definitely have to see if TikTok has anything like that. They've definitely got some brain dead videos over there.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah, my big thing really going with this is that no one's making unique arguments. They're all the same. That's like the gag of having the bingo board, which should be on screen.
Yep, I can just hit it with the good old boop, and it's on there.
Yep. Let me
Button
do
said,
this.
"Are you ballin'? We always be ballin' on stream."
Dog, I am dick straight ballin' right now, dude.
Dick straight ballin'.
Yeah. Someone said overwinking characters is unironically ridiculous. or it's unironically so ridiculous. Well, it's a matter of perspective. I think if there's like a legitimate argument for it, that's not just like actual bullshit. It's like way more respectable than throwing your arms up in the air and saying we can never know.
Yeah.
Anti-power scalers be power scaling without knowing it, 100%. Usually they like have some take of their own. It's like, dog, power scaling is so stupid, but wait, why are people saying that Gojo beats Goku? What?
Yeah.
Look how live is so boring. Keemstar thinks he's smart is actually making the podcast lame. No, I agree with you, Hun. You have to let like the Livelhouse crash and burn. Like the whole point of it was that you were going to get Wings, Boogie, and originally Darkseid Phil in the room and remove their biggest issue, which is money. And then you just let them have like the most batshit takes imaginable about modern like stuff. But that's not what it is anymore. So
yeah, it's funny because like the people who like just like excessively wank like a series because they like it, and then you have like the anti-power scalers are like the radical left and the radical right. Like they just they utterly hate each other, but they more or less are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, like, man, I remember who was I talking to?
They're just demeaning people for different reasons. Like, well, it's just like they both like both sides of the spectrum both think that they're the top-notch nerds of the world, and they both think like, say, like the anti-power scalers think that they're smart because they're condemning power scaling, that it's beneath them, but the people who massively wank it for the sake of their verse think that they're so smart they can make any argument that they want, that no one who's like who's actually knowledgeable about this stuff would be able to actually take them down, so they just think they're invincible.
Yeah, I mean, it should say something that some of like the most knowledgeable people in like these communities are usually power scalers. Like it's usually the people who aren't power scalers and are super knowledgeable end up being like aberrations, like Artur from Library of Ohara, and trying to think of another one. I guess there's probably someone in Dragon Ball is super knowledgeable, but I can't think of someone specifically off the top of my head who's not a power scaler.
Mm-hmm.
Like being into Dragon Ball and not being a power scaler is such a weird concept.
Yeah.
You know? Still can't think of a name. Thank you for renewing your membership.
Yeah.
So,
our first and seemingly our only member who's ever joined the YouTube membership.
Yeah.
Appreciate the support, man. We always appreciate those donations and the support that any you guys can give us, because they always go back into the content that I make. So,
or to me, depending on what day it is.
Yeah.
But
I think we've given people enough time. We've been
so this. We're gonna watch this video, play bingo, and then while we're playing it, of course, you're free to play at home. Usually, if there's an actual bingo, 4 corners does not count. Take your drink of your preferred beverage.
Yep. And now we have the women.
And if you guys want us to watch another video, it can be anything. Like if you wanted to make us watch a Phil video or something, $50.
Yeah, you're just like, if it's a Phil video, let's watch.
Yeah, Phil actually talked about. Yeah, Phil actually talked about Warhammer recently. Again, I might have to react to that, but
someone like a bunch of people have been wanting us to watch some like Warhammer like content specifically.
That's just me watching it. Like,
I know, that's literally the problem. That's the problem, is that you'll be the only one who's been only be saying anything.
Yeah. No, but the video can $50 for like 20 minutes. Because that's gonna end up taking us like an hour, right?
Yeah, effectively.
So, yeah. So, yeah. Besides that, we're just gonna watch this video, and then depending on how long it takes us, we might watch a second one, and whatever.
Yep. Alrighty. You ready, Hashi?
What are you gonna do about the second video, Onoki? So,
now have
that was enough.
Chat right here. And if a donation happens to pop up, then we will read that. But in the meantime, we're gonna be watching this and reacting to it. Again, if you want us to like immediately answer a question in time, send us a donation. But anyway, we're gonna be watching in 3, 2, 1.
Why? I made that in like 5 hours as a joke. I drew pictures that... Whatever. I knew when I couldn't find a playlist to put that video in that this would turn into a Plague of Gripes series. Great balls! Might have to workshop that one. Alright, you want to listen to me rail on Dragon Ball? Let's go. This isn't even 50% of my true power. Topic lead-in. Power levels. They suck. If you want to complain about something in Dragon Ball, this is a good place to start. It's pretty foundational to most problems in the series, along with Toriyama's overall disinterest in writing. It doesn't matter if you're bitching about...
Alright, we're gonna take a pause already. So, for those of you who aren't aware, within the series called Dragon Ball Z, this very niche anime from the 90s, I don't know if any of y'all have watched it, these characters use this thing, usually a scouter, and they read people's power levels as these, like, well, numerical things. And with it, you streamline a bunch of dialogue and relatively tell you who's stronger than who by how much. And that helps when you have a main character, Goku, who has Kaioken, which numerically multiplies his power. Verbatim. And so it helps you stack up saying, can Goku beat this person, whatever. And, yeah, I think they're a genius invention. And I don't think they contribute to any faults in the series whatsoever. And I think, so far, Plague of Gripes is full of shite.
Yeah, and effectively, Toriyama realized how if he kept using it as a plot, as like a constant plot device, then eventually it would just kind of run its course, and it eventually kind of be a way of like giving away who would win in a fight all the time. That's if it kept going, but for how little it even participated in the series, it was fairly good. It was a fairly good way of like demonstrating how much more powerful these characters were than each other. And it's like the moment you learn like Nappa's power level was like 4,000, then you kind of realize the rest of the Z fighters are kind of just scrapping at Nappa until Goku shows up. Or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like you realize, oh yeah, you want to know how much of a menace Frieza is without just him beating on the rest of the cast? Well, have him be like, oh yeah, the last time I clocked my power level in this one form that I have is 1 million. And now you're like, oh shit. like we're about to like, this Frieza is a real menace, and we've been told that this entire time, and now we're like seeing it on full display.
Someone asked, why didn't slightly lower power levels win as skill or something? Oh, we see that happen with Goku against Frieza. Goku is a much more talented martial artist, but every time he tries to get the upper hand at Frieza, Frieza just powers up a little bit more and beats his ass.
Yeah.
Like, Goku tries the thing where he makes the ball Kamehamehas and he figures out that Frieza can't sense energy, but then it doesn't matter because Frieza's just so much faster and stronger. He tries Kaioken times 20, but now Frieza's just at 50% and it's still massively stronger than him.
Yeah.
What else did he try? He tried everything, really.
He literally used the spirit bomb, which was like a last resort technique.
Yeah.
That like required the rest of the Z fighters to try to distract Frieza while he gathered energy, and even that didn't work. So effectively, Goku then had to unlock Super Saiyan as a result.
Yeah, and Super Saiyan is contextualized too because it's much stronger than the 20 times Kaioken he just used.
Yeah. So
there's actually this. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was about to say like because people go over the whole like author intent thing about like what the author is thinking at the time, like. Toriyama hadn't said that what he originally thought at the time was like Super Saiyan was just a 10 times boost. But that wouldn't have made any narrative like sense if that were the case, because then that would have been Super Saiyan is weaker than how much he can push himself through Kaioken. And that would have even made him close to Frieza if he was that strong. So when they made the data books and said it was a 50 times boost, Toriyama ultimately conceded that their interpretation would have been more correct. And made more sense as a result.
There's also that one scene where it's like Tien and King Kai, and Goku's fighting Frieza in like smoke, and Tien's like, "Oh, Goku's still wearing his weighted clothing," and King Kai's like, "No, that's just like the like super durable clothes I made him," and then, or maybe Yamcha said that. And then Tien's like, "Oh, but he has the Kaioken, right?" And King Kai's like. No, he's been using it. And you see Goku try to use Kaioken and just get, like, ragdolled by Frieza.
Right.
Also, someone said something about the Earthlings. The edge the Earthlings had on the Saiyans was that they could hide their power levels, and that a common thing all of them would do is when they would go to use an attack, they would put a lot of energy into it. and so it'd be a little bit stronger than themselves. And you see this against Raditz too. I think the Kamehameha was at like 900, and the Makan Kosapo was at like 1200 or something.
Yeah, well, like well, that was something that like Vegeta noted instantly when they came there. Was Nappa tried to gauge all their power levels, and then Vegeta's like, nah, this is pointless. We already know from Raditz that they're able to hide their power levels, so we don't need these fucking scouters, bro. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of pointless. And then Nappa's like, good point. Like this whole thing about like whether or not that we can accurately determine whether or not the characters are hiding their power levels or not become like an eccentric part to the plot in the story at hand, and figuring out whether or not the Z Fighters actually stand a chance against these Saiyans that have been hyped up for so long.
Yeah.
So
all right.
I just don't understand how somebody can immediately talk about like Toriyama has such a huge distaste for writing, and then brings up power levels as an example.
Yeah.
Like, do you not know how iconic this like this whole idea became after it was introduced?
Yeah, it's
everyone liked this idea. Like,
yeah, they're such a good narrative device. All right, let's keep watching.
Getting Super Saiyan 2, the human characters getting left behind, Frieza coming back as strong as a god, or Goku not winning every fight by going blue and sneezing on him.
All right, no, Frieza coming back strong isn't bad. Like, Frieza is like a super prodigy. And it should say something that even Beerus is like, kind of like concerned about Frieza when he wakes up in Battle of Gods, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, Goku, like, Saiyan defeated Frieza?
Yeah.
Because, like, Frieza was the top of the mountaintop for a while. And then you have you have this, Super Saiyan Goku who shows up, and now he's the top of the mountaintop. Mm-hmm. And then the androids are made to defeat the Super Saiyan Goku. Mm-hmm. So,
like, for a while, like, Beerus kind of, like, alludes to the fact that he was using Frieza as, like, his lapdog for like, races that he just was tired of, and that he was somebody that he could temporarily keep on a leash for a while because he wouldn't really train himself or whatever. And then, like, he even, like, alludes to the fact that he might just take out Frieza if he just really did not like him. But then it's like, oh, well, somebody already took him out, and he's like, wait. What? What do you mean Frieza's dead? And then, like, talks about how, like, he doesn't think that, like, he's still, like, Beerus holds Frieza into, like, such a high regard, and, like, more or less, Toriyama just took advantage of the fact that, like, he never really elaborated on Frieza that much, and how much, like, he didn't train, so he's like, you know what? I could probably use this to my advantage, in order to make Frieza relevant again. He just is actually, like, a super prodigy, and if he actually put his effort in, he could, like, grow insanely quickly. And honestly, that's just fine. Like,
I forgot what, like, Goku's canon power level was as, like, a baby or whatever. It's, like, 5 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But Frieza, in his, like, final form, which is his true form, is walking around at, like, 3 million. Like, there's that, like, much of a gap, and Frieza's never trained a day in his life, and Goku is training constantly. And even after all that, even after all these Zenkais, and, like years of training, he's, like, barely comparable to 1% Frieza.
Also,
or whatever.
Frieza is, like, the constant measuring stick throughout all of Z. Like, he's even relevant near the, like, the beginning of the Buu saga as a means for Supreme Kai to be like, oh, yeah, by the way, just to tell you how much the Supreme Kais and how strong they are, they would have dogged on Frieza at any point if they really wanted to. But it's like, but Buu, we cannot deal with.
Yeah, no, and there's, like, I think there's, like, a scene, too, when they're talking about, like, preparing for the androids that, I think it's, like, Piccolo who says, if you don't think you can beat Frieza, don't bother showing up.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, if you don't think you can, like, yeah, basically, yeah, if you don't think you can take on, like, characters who are said to be way stronger than Frieza, don't show up. So it's not like the human characters got completely left behind.
Well,
like,
I think
in Super, they kind of are.
the human characters definitely do have an issue, but it's not, like, because of, like, this progression. I think, if anything, the problem is that, Goku doesn't really use his base that much, even though he's supposed to, right? There's that one interview, but he has like Super Saiyan, which is this massive increase. He has God and Blue, massive increases, and now like MUI, right? Also a massive increase. But what do humans have?
Yeah.
Nothing. Same thing with like Piccolo. Like that's why it's good that Piccolo is orange now, is that it's actually like a power up.
Yeah.
Enemies.
Yeah,
a lot of it comes down to this shit.
Yeah.
Why is a video so long? I talk a lot now. Shut up. This isn't going to be one of those headcanon, this is all their power levels that the Daizenshyus don't want you to know videos. But I'm not going to step on the power scaler community's toes either. Power levels are stupid, but they're part of the show. So trying to break down what they should in theory be and why certain scenes may have narrative dissonance as a result, well, that makes sense. But I'm not Seth or Chuck or whatever have you. I'm the guy with writer mentality, so I'm going to address it as such. Which is bad news for Toriyama, since he famously wrote the whole series on a monthly basis and made the whole thing up as he went along with no planning whatsoever. So, let's talk power levels. Let's kill Trunks, hop in the plot device, create timeline split number 6. Boy, that's another video. And go back in time to the 1980s. Where
Granted, the timeline split is such a absolute mind boggle to comprehend fully when you actually sit down and try to understand it.
Yeah.
How many hours did we spend trying to
understand? It was something like 4 hours of us just like looking at all this information, and it's like it's really convoluted. It is.
It's utterly absurd. That's one thing I'll give Plague Rise. The timeline split is some of the most and it gets worse in. Does it get worse in Super? And if anything, it's a bit more streamlined in Super. But the Cell Saga is so bad. It's so bad when it comes to the timeline split. So if he ends up complaining about the timeline split and all that stuff, I am totally on Plague Gripe's side on that one.
I think the Cell Saga is protected by the larger Dragon Ball Z, because the Cell Saga is super contrived if you think about it.
Yeah. This
guy comes back in time, he tells you about 2 androids, and it turns out there's 5.
Yeah.
Or 6 actually, but because 16. Even though 16's not even really a villain, but it's these 2 androids that you guys are beating fairly handily. No, there's 2 stronger ones. And then there's 3 stronger ones. And then there's Cell. Right, it's
do you have that same timeline sheet?
I could find it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like finding it, but it's... Yeah.
But the one thing I'm definitely not okay with Plague Gripes trying to make it out is but it's I'm not Seth or Chuck, but bad news for Toriyama, I'm going to be coming at this video with a writing brain or something.
Yeah,
it's with a writer's mindset. It's just it's no different than power scaling, my guy. It's literally no different. You're analyzing the narrative to try to understand the story in itself. You do that with power scaling as well. You take what's shown in the narrative to understand the actual scale of these characters and how they do against each other and how powerful they are, how fast they are.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's he's definitely trying to push this idea that the narrative is this separate, deeper thing than power scaling. It's really weird.
Wait, actually, is that part of the bingo? Hold on. I gotta look here. The bingo. Do we have the narrative? I can't remember if we do.
Let me check. I think Trunks got it. Their dog. Don't even get me started on the timeline shit. It's man, it's so convoluted.
Don't get us started. It's really bad.
Yeah, there's 8 timelines or something, including Super. It's something.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we have?
We don't. We don't have
no.
but the narrative.
All right. Let's keep watching then.
All right.
Cocaine was king. Land sharks were first sprouting from the streets of Japan, and Yu Yu Hakusho was a glimmer in Yoshihiro's ballsack. So, in the original Dragon Ball, the concept of power levels wasn't that much of an issue. Ordinary fighters that didn't know about ki were usually jokes, sure, but that was the premise. It was a gag manga about baby Chinese Wukong Monkey King tilling farmland and delivering milk jugs because he tricked a bipolar supermodel bank robber into living with a registered sex offender and wearing the kind of lingerie a woman puts on when she realizes she married for money and wants a baby from the local pool boy instead, in exchange for punching lessons. It's all you gotta do to make your wish come true. Yeah. So for the vast majority of the front end of Dragon Ball, it was fairly lighthearted, silly, and even the fights were goofy or homages to 70s martial arts films.
Sir, pause it.
It wasn't until...
one thing I don't like, and this is what a lot of people do in like other fandoms, is they try to downplay a series. Like with how he described it, he's like, "Oh, it's so silly, dude." But it's like Dragon Ball was still a very magical series when it came out.
Yeah.
Like it's still good. Don't get me wrong, but it is groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Like the paneling is amazing, choreography is great. You know, and he's just trying to downplay it, and I feel like what he's gonna do is like, "Yep, Dragon Ball's all kind of bad," you know, and no.
It's just like, oh, like, you know, it just started off as a gag manga or whatever, and it's just like, and then I hope he doesn't start saying that like the moment when it gets serious is when it started going downhill, because that's kind of when for a lot of people, especially those who skipped original Dragon Ball, that's just what Dragon Ball was to them. So
yeah, like no one watched original Dragon Ball, unfortunately.
This is like obvious like projection, like.
Yeah. Alright.
89, when I was 7 or 8 or something, that the problem with power levels first appeared. I was a deeply analytical child, so of course I recognized this immediately. This first instance of power level creep that I can identify is Tao Pai Pai.
Creep?
Or Mercenary Tao for...
Power creep? Started with Tao Pai Pai?
Yeah, what... Alright, let's see where this is going.
Godless heathens. Characters get stronger than one another prior to this, but everyone is generally in the same power range as long as they understood what ki was. To be more specific, the problem happens when Tao defeats Goku, leaves him for dead, and Goku realizes that he isn't quote-unquote strong enough to win. This is a phrase that seems to get translated a lot from Japanese, and it applies to basically any situation in which someone needs to improve. Even if the improvement isn't physical at all, it's often said a character needs to get stronger to confront their current obstacle. Some of that comes down to a cultural difference.
I mean,
if you're gonna make this, if you're going to make this claim, you have to actually show the kanji.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, but you can't just say it's like a translation thing and then not show the actual kanji. That's not how this works, Chief.
Like, you're literally showing on the streets, like, but he's super strong. My moves didn't even scratch him. It's the first time I've met somebody like that.
Yeah, it sounds like he's talking about raw strength. Like, I don't know.
It sounds like the whole idea of, like, characters being stronger than another. And, like, it's like a whole thing, like, with Roshi and, like, why he participated in the tournament was his hopes that Goku and Krillin would not just waltz through the tournament and then just gain an ego. And so his whole point of being there was that it was to prove the whole, like, one of the big concepts of Dragon Ball is that there's always somebody stronger, and that's what one of the lessons he wanted to teach Goku.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Difference of the concept of self not being cleanly defined between the physical and the non-physical, like it is here in the West. But either way, character progress is often defined in terms of strength. Goku then climbs the tower to get the MacGuffin. He's got to drink the magic plot device water. When characters in Dragon Ball are really far behind in quote-unquote power, and it makes no sense that they'd be able to improve to be on par with other characters, they will often be given what I'll call a power device. That's slang for a Toriyama handjob. Whether it's an old cat, an old slug, or an old Kai, or... I guess most of them are old men that reach deep inside of young...
How are, like... I definitely think the water is a plot device, don't get me wrong. But, like, the unlocked potential stuff definitely isn't.
Yeah.
Because, like, Gohan gets his potential unlocked.
Yeah.
Like, can't really do much. Like, anytime he's doing, like, major stuff, it's him rage amped, right?
Yeah. Well, it's just like it doesn't become like a super relevant thing where like say like when Guru gives him like a gives him like a power up, like both him and Gohan. It's just like they don't when they only come across the Ginyu Force and then they get absolutely jobbed, and then Goku shows up who does a bunch of training on his own through the gravity chamber and then absolutely dogs them. Like, them getting the potential unlocked thing didn't end up progressing anything.
Wait, real fast. Someone was saying that, what's it called? The water didn't amp him, though, or whatever, and that's fine. That's not the point. My point is that no one defends that, right? Like, no one defends it as, like,
but, like, that was, like, a clear, just, like, Goku drank water, he become big, strong after.
Yeah, no one's defending that as, like, amazing writing, right?
Yeah.
Like, the point is that a lot, like, the power-ups people get in the series, even if you say, like, they came out of nowhere, it's not like they make, like, no sense. Like, the potential unleashed stuff all makes a ton of sense when you look into it. And even if we don't have, like, the old Kai do that for Gohan could have just trained with the Z-Sword. And that's what could have made him that strong. Like, Toriyama definitely wasn't written into a hole there or something like that.
By the way,
same thing with like Gohan too.
Yeah, someone's getting offended that we're just like kind of like talking a lot after we're pausing the video. If you don't like to listen to our rants, you don't have to watch, bro. Like,
wait, someone's getting offended that we're doing it?
Yeah.
Let him finish a point.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is he's just like constantly dogging on Dragon Ball instead of him making a point.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he kind of started off the video with like, if you wanted to find a reason to dog on Dragon Ball, here it is, and then just says power levels. They're stupid and dumb, and then just kind of goes into this other stuff, like, without really elaborating on a specific point. Like, but anyway, let's actually continue with this.
Yeah.
To see if he ends up making a point here.
Boys.
Sure.
Huh. But yes, thankfully at this point in Dragon Ball, the water isn't actually a power device. The real objective is to reach the water by getting past the Senin Karen.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's mentioned that it took Roshi 3 years to accomplish this, and of course, it takes Goku about 3 days, because Goku is so strong. The water doesn't do anything, it's just normal water, but because Goku ran up a tower a couple times, ate some Zenzu beans, and tickled a pussy, he can now beat the clothes off Tao somewhat easily. What a 3-day weekend that was. Now, the problem I have with this sequence isn't necessarily the time frame. Sometimes winning a fight is just a matter of mentality. A lot can change by this altering your goal of attack. Losing from being too aggressive, and then focusing on counters in the next fight. You know, that sort of thing. But it's apparent with how the fight plays out, that Goku's improvement was mainly physical. Korin trained Goku physically. It wasn't like Goku's later training of being taught to move without ringing a bell, or dodging lightning, or learning the sense ki. It was just ordinary physical training. More to the point, from a narrative point of view, unlike much of the prior parts of the series, absolutely nothing has changed about the nature of how Goku fought Tao. His number just got bigger. He didn't realize the Dodonpa had a weakness, and then tried to think of a strategy to exploit it. He didn't realize Tao was faster than he was, and take steps to try to nullify that advantage. He simply got stronger. We're told that he got better.
Here.
We don't see it beyond the fact that he wins. Now, I'm not going to list every example of this, point being, it started early. The Tao example was capped off with Goku annihilating the entire Red Ribbon Army, and Roshi declaring that Goku had gotten so powerful that he was now probably out of reach of the rest of them. Sound familiar? He was something like a god now. Toriyama loves to fetishize power development, and have characters state that they're useless compared to Goku. It's Toriyama's only idea.
But at this point, even then, Master Roshi was still more powerful than Goku. Like,
he's like saying this is what happens, but I'm not saying why this is a bad thing.
Yeah,
it's not.
That's the problem with Plague of Gripes and a lot of like anti-Powerscalers is they don't actually explain what makes this a bad thing. Like, I don't get why it's like, other than this actually bothers him. Like, I don't understand what his like actual gripe with this is, other than he doesn't like how simplistic the in which Goku had to go what was like the training he had to do in order to actually beat Tao. It's like, oh well, he just got stronger. And I don't like that it was just a physical thing that he did. It's just like,
so
okay.
someone can feel free to correct me, but the only inkling I've seen in Dragon Ball of there being like an upper cap to strength where it's like there's no more room to improve is like Jiren. Because there's that statement in the Broly movie that Jiren wasn't actually that much stronger than Goku or Vegeta. He was just like hyper efficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, what that sounds like is, all right, now we're getting to the point where they're optimizing stuff. But all the way back in like original Dragon Ball, why would we assume that like Goku's at his like physical limit or something? Like a few days of training couldn't help him. Or whatever, like why is that absurd, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's keep watching.
Yeah, for showing the viewer that Goku has made progress. Yet later, Roshi catches up off screen to forfeit his match with Tenshinhan. I guess they're all gods now too. Yay!
No, he always was one. What? What do you mean Roshi like just did off-screen training and now is always just a god? Like he's always been that way. He's the one that trained Goku, for God's sake. Like,
also, that's not Roshi, it's Jackie Chan. You know, we never see Roshi fight till Super,
true,
so you know.
True.
Yeah.
God.
Roshi.
Okay. Lots of power devices are used from this point on for various characters, from dodging lightning to King Kai's super gravity pebble to Gohan being man-touched into...
Those aren't power devices. It's like earlier you said him dodging lightning or like moving without ringing a bell is like valid forms of training. You can't then go back on that. Like, why isn't it valid for training for him to move at 10 times gravity? Which, by the way, the reason that's like not impressive, I know that sounds weird, but hear me out, is because the Saiyan planet was at 10 times gravity, with the implication that Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz could do that without breaking a sweat.
Someone said that I think he's trying to say that he feels like Goku's character should have gone through some type of development in his approach to fighting. Well, that wasn't required when fighting Tao, because he didn't actually come across a problem in which he needed to like have some type of mental development where he needed to have a different approach to fighting Tao, and that really the only thing that was preventing him from beating Tao was that he wasn't physically strong enough. So it's not like he needed to go through some ultra like character development in order to beat Tao. Like, not every single like villain has to be like that, and it's clear that Tao wasn't that much of a villain that warranted that type of like character development.
Trent made a good point, which is when people have these criticisms, I wonder if they even like Dragon Ball, because the stuff they dislike is 90% of the series, 100%. Someone else said he's referring to the fact that Roshi trained and was visualizing beating him at one point. No, the point isn't that if Roshi trained or not. The point is that you're like Roshi's like the master, and so we kind of like assume that he's strong, right? It's not like outrageous for him to like be relative to Tien. Like it's not like in Super where everybody magically caught up, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like your expectations of how strong someone is. All right, keep playing the video.
Yeah.
Becoming the strongest character in the series by doing no training at all. It happens a lot.
Oh, wait, he thinks
Gohan's
the strongest in the series? Oh, man. Kid Buu fans on Suicide Watch, because Plague Gripes is debunking you.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I want
to Gohan being man-touched into becoming the strongest character in the series by doing no training at all.
Yeah, Kid Buu fans, Suicide Watch.
It became a staple of the series that characters would enter an arc in which it is established that the new enemy is a character that is stronger than the prior one. They don't fight any differently. They just have a bigger key number.
Wait, let's see. Wow, why don't we have every character in the show line up and do this? I don't even have a tenth of the experience anyone else has shown about these paragraphs. It's almost like this is a flimsy power device written for the sake of convenience.
I disagree.
No, because Gohan has always been the one character who has been hyped up to have like the most potential out of anyone in the Z Fighters. And then if anybody in the entire cast were to get like this complete like potential unleash form, it would be most beneficial to Gohan. And in the Buu saga, when we are facing up against Super Buu, it would make the most sense if Gohan was the one character to get that one type of power up, when it takes like nearly like 24 hours for you to like unlock it.
I will say, especially in Super, the narrative behind Goku and Vegeta is that they're constantly at their limit and they have to keep breaking their limits to get stronger, and that they've like kind of realized their potential at any given point, right?
Yeah.
So like, if for example you said everybody's at 10, Goku and Vegeta's potential at any given point is also like a 10, and they have to break it to go through it. But like Gohan would be at a 10 and his potential would be like 100.
Yeah.
But because Gohan never really trains properly, and we see this in Super too with what Piccolo says. Yeah, he was the one who made good use of potential unleashed. Also, he said like all the villains fight the same, which isn't true.
Yeah.
Like Cell used everybody's abilities and could regenerate and got Zenkais and was like a tactician. But Buu was just a force of nature, and that was what was super dangerous about him.
Yeah. Well, it's just like he was simply like a literal animal, in which he was somebody that can't be reasoned with. And
yeah,
that was what's scary about him, is that he was just this ultimate means of like destroying things. Where it's just like, first he was just a kid with a lot of power, then he was just like a maniacal like supervillain who did whatever he wanted, and then Kid Buu was just a literal force of nature who just went around destroying things because he can.
Yeah.
So, like,
all right,
yeah.
Let's keep
But
watching.
to beat the enemy, Goku has to level up his stats, so that his numbers are now bigger than the other guy's numbers, usually by grinding in some new exotic location in the same way that he always has. Power levels. But it isn't until specifically Z, when Toriyama thought he was bookending the series, that's why he was called Z, that power levels actually showed up.
No, that's not true either.
Oh, actually, so he doesn't know the reason why it's called Dragon Ball Z?
It like Trent kind of like alluded to it, but it's like funny. The people who are like, I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, more specifically OG Dragon Ball, and Z is bad, end up just not knowing anything about the series as a whole.
Look here, it's called Dragon Ball Volume 14. It's not called Dragon Ball Z. It's because Toriyama saw this as the continuation of original Dragon Ball, and the whole Z moniker didn't come until way later, because like wasn't
He wrote
it like
two.
like the anime like made this weird version of the 2 that made it look like Z. So
Yeah,
it started so everybody started calling it Dragon Ball Z, and then eventually it just caught on, and then eventually Toriyama started like being like, you know what, I really like that Dragon Ball Z. I like it. It has a good ring to it. And that's how the name was born. Third, because of some like localization bullshit.
Doomfister, you can't say the debate's dead and then drop your Kid Buu Buhan take in the chat. That's a war.
No.
That's a war crime. Oh my
No.
lord. Alright, let's keep watching.
Yep.
Even though Piccolo and Goku were the strongest ever, oh my god, so strong, Raditz shows up and is stronger. By like 4 times, too. The funny thing is, Raditz was a worse fighter than either Piccolo or Goku. His techniques were not as realized, he couldn't raise his battle power or focus his ki, and he made tactical errors over and over. But his number was bigger. This shit had Piccolo asking White Jesus, will a Namek live or die, because the Kami can't see us in the deep, dark clouds of the power level projects. This happens a lot in Z. Characters often launch attacks that they don't do anything to other characters. Even if their surprise attacks are well timed, the other guy is just too strong. Alright, hold on. Let's talk about the mechanics of why this shit even happens in this series. To show how dumb this is.
Sorry. So he says like Raditz is like he's stronger, but like he's like dumb. But that's like the whole point of Raditz. Like how are they supposed to beat Raditz otherwise? Like genuinely, right?
Yeah. And the thing was that again, this whole idea of like there will always be somebody stronger was something that was like a narrative was like a whole narrative plot point that was introduced by Roshi back in original Dragon Ball. This has always been a part of the series, and it's just more accentuated at the beginning of Z with the Saiyan saga when we come across people like Raditz and Nappa, who are just guys who go onto planets and shoot everything with ki blasts from their mouths, and they turn into giant apes. They're not well structured fighters at all, and then they come across the Z fighters who more or less had to compensate for that lack of power with skill. And once they realized how much stronger Nappa was, they then realized that their whole goal should then be to stall until Goku shows up, because he was the one that could realistically stand a chance against them.
I don't know if it's in the manga, but it's definitely in Kai. But Earth is a backwater planet. I don't know why you would expect the strongest people on Earth, before the Saiyan arc, to be relative to anybody who's a name in space. That's kind of the whole point of the series, is that once they got out into space, there's so many stronger people out there. Let's keep watching.
Toriyama gave more thought to the name GT than he did Z. Facts.
That's funny.
It'll take some effort on my part, because Toriyama has not once in the series ever had a Naruto training scene where characters explain the shit that they're doing. The closest we ever got was Gohan quote-unquote training Videl. And the only thing he does there is say, "Hey, Ki exists." And she's like, "Nah, it doesn't. I'm holding out my hands and shit ain't happening." And then he goes, "Nah, it totally does. Just do it. Do it, stupid." And she just holds out her hands, and the Ki...
How about just show what they actually said instead of just, trying to dumb it down and, gaslight everybody into thinking that's what the explanation was? Because I can guarantee you that's not what he says.
I also want to point out that there's a lot of combat dialogue where they do kind of explain what they're doing.
Yeah.
Especially training wise, in the Cell arc, they explain why they're using Mastered Super Saiyan and why that's better, right? There's a famous one. Another famous one is when Goku's explaining the drawbacks of Super Saiyan 3, why training while dead is better because your body's more durable. He is a very simple power system, don't get me wrong, but we don't need the Naruto training montage for it. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Keep playing.
He just shows up.
Bring up the panel? Sure, I can do that. You can address chat while I do that.
Yeah, sure. He's grabbing the panel of Gohan explaining Ki. I mean, are you saying that because there's something good in it, or do you just want us to read the panel?
Yeah. Granted,
sure
it's a pretty simple example. But I just do not like it ever when people like Blake of Gripes just boil down scenes like this to something super layman's and be yes, this is how it was explained. When
you could just show the panel. Yeah, he could have just shown the panel on screen. He could have played the scene. He could have had the Kai piss filter over it, whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have complained.
No,
because I don't think he needs a big explanation as to what it does. If I'm being real here, Chief.
Yeah. Apparently,
it's pretty simple.
Will not show me, so I'm gonna have to go to Manga see real quick.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find the chapter. I don't know what chapter you'd be either. I don't know anybody who has Dragon Ball memorized the same way Nate has Naruto memorized. Was Zoro stronger than Ryuma? You mean the skeleton Ryuma or actual live Ryuma? Because those are two different people, kind of. Only different abilities that use they're weird abilities that do make things like a Vegeta is able to transmute his ki into fire at one point in the Saiyan arc. At least in Kai he does. In the manga it might have just been a ki blast or something, but yeah, there's stuff like that. There's what's another interesting one? I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, Frieza has telekinesis, and it seems to be different, So yeah, I mean, I think Dragon Ball doesn't need an in-depth power system either. I think the people who think an in-depth power system means a better battle manga are
again.
I think
deluded. I think Plague of Gripes is probably somebody based off of how he just doesn't like the the key explanation in Dragon Ball that he's just someone who just gawks about how Hunter x Hunter is like the perfect shonen or whatever, as like the perfect power system and whatnot.
Yeah,
'Cause that's always the case. Like every time they always talk about how like, oh, well, like the power system's just so intrinsic to the characters and their development and their character and blah 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 blah, and it's just like, okay, cool, but like that doesn't mean that like every other one that's not just as intricate is just bad or whatever.
Goku can read minds with ki. Is that with ki? Like, that was always something really weird, that Goku randomly just does that. Like, I think it's fine. It saved us on dialogue, right? But it was always kind of weird. He just, like, it's like, alright, Krillin, read in your mind now. Oh, alright. Yeah, I'm gonna go beat that Frieza guy up. Give me a second. He has a Hunter x Hunter vid? Oh, lordy.
Oh, so he does. And I bet
I'm gonna refill
how good it is, too.
I'm gonna refill my drink real fast. Give me a second.
Okay, okay. I think I found it. What else could it be? That's what he said, by the way, Hashi. Wait, Hashi, you there? Nope, Hashi is not here, in fact. Alright, well, give me a second, chat. I almost have it up. Okay. You said you'd teach me how to fly. Da 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 da. Okay.
Oh, Yohashi, you know yin and yang things? Maybe? Yeah, sorry, I went to refill my drink.
Okay.
This one's taken quite a bit of drinking.
Yep. I found the chapter. Just
this is like saying One Piece is better than Naruto. Yeah. It is a bit like that.
Yep. It's like, oh, it's like, okay, you're ready to learn how to fly? It's just a matter of controlling your chi or ki or whatever. Same thing. It's like, it's not...
Yeah.
So it's not too hard. Although it can get tricky when you try to go fast. It's like, well, what's controlling your chi? What's chi? And it's like, oh, well, you've got to be, oh, maybe you have a different word for it. You know, it's energy, the latent power in your body. It's like, what? What are you talking about, latent power? And then Goten's like this, and then just destroys the rock. It's like, what do you call it?
Wait.
A trick? It's like, no, it's not a trick. It's a real power. Then it's magic. I don't know. I never heard of it. It's like, well, this could be a problem. Do you need
Wait, pause real fast.
Yeah.
Or stop. I feel like Trent would see Goten and be like this, and be like, wow, he's just like me for real.
Just like me for real. It's like, don't worry, everybody has chi. It's just hard to control it. Really? Goten, you'll have to wait a bit. First, I need to teach Vigil how to access her chi. Starts explaining it. That's it. That's chi. You're picking up on it quickly. You're picking up on it quickly now that you're practicing martial arts. It's like, can I fly out? Not yet. You'll have to be able to control the flow of chi at will.
Oh, there's Goku training too.
Yeah, but then there's more like Goku training and whatnot. Yep. It's like, you're voting. Shut up, I can't concentrate. Voting just one day, and then Goten's just flying.
Yeah, just like me for real.
He had a good grasp of chi already. You'll be able to fly soon.
Super Saiyan Gene Theory.png.
Yeah. So it's very clear that like it wasn't as simplistic as layman's as like power Plague of Gripes has made it out to be, or just do it.
It's really intuitive. Like,
yeah.
Ki is a really intuitive system, and that's why it's charming.
Like, even like Ki, Gohan like explains that like one of the reasons why Videl is able to learn pretty fast for a human was because she was already kind of studying, like practicing martial arts, and that it's much easier for her to access it.
This is, if you scroll down when Goku transforms, That's like what, the third time we've seen someone go grade 4? I think.
Oh, right here.
It depends. Yeah, I'm trying to remember when we see. Well, it depends if you think Vegeta has it, right? And yeah, it's just an interesting thought.
Mm.
Nothing I'm pointing out substantial here. Let's go back to the video.
Yep.
And that's your explanation for how everything in Dragon Ball works. There's magic right above your pussy.
Oh my god. Gohan would then go on to ruin Vidal's character and design by cutting her hair and turning her into yet another DBC broad mare. More like, that was more so the fault of Super's writing for doing that.
Yeah,
granted,
I thought she looked better with short hair.
Well, granted, I'm a big fan of Pigtails Vidal. That's my opinion. But
very, very patrician taste. I mean, I feel it, but I'm not like. Look, I'm just saying, Gohan got a baddie and convinced her to do like Super Sentai Kamen Rider shit with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he absolutely got lucky, like 100%.
Also, I think. Oh wait, I now remember the reason why he makes these weird ass like, cause listen.
And that's your explanation for how everything in Dragon Ball works. There's magic right above your pussy, and you just push it into your fucking hands, you stupid fucking ape.
I just remembered the reason why he makes these like weird ass like sexual innuendos in his scripts is because he often draws like lolly shit on his Twitter, and everyone like gets on him.
No.
And that like they're like, oh, so that's why he like gets into like some of these like weird ass explanations, talk about like the whole like sex offender and touching pussies at the beginning, and then like talks about it here. It's like, oh yeah, like key is just like being able to push your like power throughout your pussy and shit. And it's just like, oh, the reason why he says stuff like that is because he's also into weird shit, so he has a really fucked up mind. But yeah, I just figured I'd mention that because I'm like, oh, I just unlocked a core memory.
I forgot about that. I didn't want to say anything though.
Yeah.
Fuck you! Sorry, in my personal headcanon, since Toriyama never explains anything's mechanics, I imagine Ki...
He actually does, surprisingly. He actually does explain how Ki works in his interviews. So, no, you're wrong on there, Plague of Gripes. Maybe do your research.
Working sort of like a field around the characters. That glowing shit they always have. When they emit their body heat and the European sirens start going off, that's stated to be their ki radiating from their body. Super Saiyan wastes a lot of ki because its dumb heat siren is too loud or whatever. But the reason their clothes don't get torn up from the slightest punch from these god-tier super guy kicks is because the power they're using to fight with is also covering their bodies. For example, people often complain about them using weighted clothing that only weighs a few pounds, but they can lift hojillions of pounds, right?
Wait, pause again.
So why does it...
Like, he's like pointing this out like, oh, it's so absurd or whatever, but like nothing's actually wrong here.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, well, they need to like master Super Saiyan. It's like, yeah, that's like a really neat plot point. Or like, oh, their clothes don't get damaged. It's like, do you want them to?
Yeah.
Do you want everybody to fight naked like Frieza? Like, what's the point you're trying to get at? This, like, Trent was right again, where it's just like he's just hating on the series.
Yeah.
He's not like actually providing a criticism of power levels as a narrative device or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, like, all the weight stuff being like a low end, like lifting strength isn't punching strength.
Like, it just seems like a lot of these content creators are just so much a bigger fan of trying to make their videos entertaining rather than actually making good points or trying to like actually make a point whatsoever in their videos.
Oh, I know no one cares, but I hate how he's using the orange brick DVDs. I mean, for when I care, Trent. Thank you. I would have preferred the Kai piss filter personally, but for two, I'm willing to bet he just like torrented Dragon Ball, and that's what footage he's using.
Yeah.
Or like went to Kiss Anime, downloaded it, right?
I think Trent mentioned before, like one of the best things about Totally Not Mark's videos is because he has Anime AJ and like a bunch of really good animation people in his fucking corner helping him make his videos. All of his videos are just like super top notch, like the best quality of Dragon Ball animation you could find on the market.
Yeah.
And it's just like
I do like that he showed that one cut of Goku versus Cell that's just raw.
Yeah.
Like that cut is chef's kiss.
Yep. Yeah, and that's
Now let's keep watching.
Naoto Shishida.
Does it affect them at all? Here's my explanation. Their bodies are just normal human bodies. They just know.
What? But
I'd like to recite a quote. I'd like to recite a quote that Goku says to Frieza, which is, and I quote, "You can destroy a planet, but you can't destroy me."
Yeah.
Continue.
Oh man.
That's the only difference between Mr. Satan and Krillin, other than sex appeal, right? One.
Why did he have to mention that? Like,
It's like he's 12.
That provided like nothing, like absolutely nothing to his video. Like he didn't have to mention that, and it was not funny. Like, oh, like it's like that's the difference between Krillin and Mr. Satan. Oh, besides sex appeal.
He could have said hair. He could have said hair, and it would have worked. He could have said, "Oh, besides hair or
Yeah.
like height," and it would be like, "All right, yep." Because like, Mr. Satan canonically is a martial artist. He's like, I think he's supposed to be like the best like regular human martial artist. Like he's not a slouch. It's just that when we see him against Cell, that's the comparison between normal people and like our main cast, right?
Yeah, like if you took like the strongest man of our own planet to try to take up against Cell, and then he just launches him into the next mountain. Like
Yeah, well, not the strongest man, but it's a little bit like if like Conor McGregor tried to fight Cell, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
Or, like,
basically
Eddie
what
Hall
it
or
is.
something like that.
Yeah.
Can use ki. They both have normal human bodies, or slug or Frigidaire bodies, whatever.
I was gonna say
If they
neither
don't
of the
use their
characters on
ki,
screen were human.
which Goku often doesn't when he lowers his guard all the time, they seem to be able to be injured just as easily as anyone else.
Except in the first chapter of Dragon Ball, when Bulma takes out an AK-47 and starts shooting Goku in the back of the head, and all he says is "Ow, ow, that hurt." Normal human bodies, by the way. Normal human
Dragon
bodies.
Ball.
This guy's such a huge fan of OG Dragon Ball, but doesn't remember the first chapter.
I do think that
Holy crap!
I do think that most Dragon Ball characters are weaker when they're off guard, right? And when they're like their power isn't raised to the level they would fight at.
Yeah.
But that does not mean they're like regular human level. In fact, like if you were under 10 times gravity, you would probably die. Like the blood would not reach your brain and all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, and Vegeta casually is operating under 500 times gravity and stuff, and like he lived under 10 times gravity as a baby.
Yeah.
Like they are definitely more like even with no ki, they are more durable than a normal human for sure.
It's why you can say attempt to kill Goku Black with a bullet by striking when he has no reason to be using much ki. His body isn't being protected or enhanced beyond the limits of a normal human.
Yeah, a special bullet made by Bulma. It's like...
it also didn't work either.
Yeah.
Like people love doing this for series, but people will be like, "Oh, look, they were gonna do this," and it's like, "Did it work?" And it's like, "Well, no." And it's like, "Well, how is it an anti-feat?" For all we know, maybe it would have shot Goku Black dead in the chest and it would have bounced off, right?
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Body at that moment, so he's vulnerable to a normal attack. It also explains why Goku can be killed by the love child of Mr. Worry and Slippy Toad. He had his guard down.
Like, why did he have to give them that description? It's like, the thing of Gripes' humor is just so weird.
It's just cringe. Like
It's
I'm
just
cringing
so
over here.
cringe. Like, I don't know how people will generally watch this guy and get some like unironic enjoyment off of it.
I think it's because
you know what? He's being satirical, Hashi. He's being satirical. So
that's what
so we shouldn't be like ultimately criticizing him for anything he says because it's satirical. It's all for the mean of satire.
Bullets are not that strong either. Regular humans live through headshots. Well, you see, if John Kennedy locked the fuck in, his brain would have dodged the bullet, dude.
Oh no. Hold on. Do we have? I need to find that meme now since we're talking about it. If JFK locked. If he locked in, there we go.
Yeah.
I found it.
10% survival Ryu is correct. No, but my point is more that, like, Plague of Gripes is just, like, trying to make these, like, weird points. And I feel like it's, like, he says it's not, but I feel like he's trying to undermine power scaling. It's kind of like if you've ever seen, like, really weird people debate, and I've seen this on Comic Vine, it's like, oh, well, let's do, like, Palpatine versus somebody. And then someone dumps a Bible of, like, Palpatine anti-feats from the early EU. Like, nah, people can get criticized. Oh, my alarm. What the fuck? People can get criticized for any work. Yeah, but the difference is that, like, some people accept criticism and other people will try to write it off because this is apparently a satirical video.
Yeah.
Not saying Plague of Grapes would do that or anything, but that door is open at the moment. So
I don't know why it's so hard for me to find this.
Well, why are you looking for a dumb meme?
Because
like, I don't know what.
Funny!
Let's just watch the video, goddamn.
Fine.
He wasn't utilizing his ki. That's how it works, in theory, since he never explains it. So
they kind of do throughout the
series.
Yeah,
Weiss has a whole talk about it.
Literally,
like, at the beginning of the movie.
Right before the movie and right before he shows up, he talks about how Goku has, like, this whole tendency to become overconfident and lower his guard. And then Frieza, who was very much aware of this fact, had a contingency plan where if he lost to Goku, he would then have Sorbet then, like, have a regular laser and shoot him when Goku is at his lowest. And then, guess what? It worked. I thought, wait, hold on, Plague of Gripes. I thought characters only, like, we didn't, like, incorporate skill or strategy or anymore in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I thought strategy died when we got the Z moniker, right?
Yeah, but here it is in Dragon Ball Super, of all things, being used. Mm-hmm. Really funny how that works when you actually know about the series you're talking about. Like, we're not even, like, we aren't even getting into, like, power scaling stuff. We're really just using our writer's mindset, as Plague of Gripes would say.
Yeah.
Because we've actually went through the series before.
Alright, let's keep watching.
If a normal body is weighed down normally with normal weighted clothing without using ki, when they wrap their bodies in this shit, the weighted clothing will still be effective, because their ki is simply amplifying the natural state of whatever is inside of it.
We know that's not true. If you go back to your Manga C page, in that same chapter, Goku does the weight training where he goes Super Saiyan with the weights on his arms. We literally know that. See? Yeah, we literally know that's not true. So
their bodies and whatever they're wearing are using. It's why their clothes don't get ripped. Why weighted gi still restrict their movement. Why the Ultra Super Saiyan form slows down their movements, and so on. It's the same reason why Trunks' sword can
The grade 3 Super Saiyan grade 3, now Ultra Super Saiyan, we're well past that. It's because, like, the bulky muscles and stuff. That's why it's slower. Like, what?
Wait, what's
side of it? Their bodies and whatever they're wearing are using. It's why their clothes don't get ripped. Why weighted gi still restrict their movement. Why the Ultra Super Saiyan form slows down their movements, and so on. It's the same reason why Trunks is...
He kind of more or less says, like, yeah, it just slows down their movement or whatever.
Yeah, but it's not because of, like, some weird attribute. It's, like because their muscles are bulky and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sword can cut through Frieza, but King Cold doesn't get any effect from it at all. It's not the sword, it's the ki around the sword. That's how ki works.
Damn, I thought it was, like, never explained throughout the series, or wasn't implicit on how ki works, but apparently only until we get to Gohan do we get, like, a proper, like, explanation.
Yeah.
But apparently Plague of Gripes has a perfect understanding of how ki works, and is perfectly demonstrating how it does work in the series, and how it's completely consistent throughout the entire thing.
Also, the key sword thing is shown against Goku too, where like pretty sure Trunks powers up like his sword, and then Goku powers up one finger specifically.
Yeah.
My head, because Toriyama. So when it comes to characters' attacks, it's the same shit. I always imagine it sort of like a ballistics test. If you have a tank, you can't shoot it with a pistol 1,000,000 times to blow it up. That's what armor is for. You have to fire a shell at it that's hard enough and fast enough to actually penetrate the armor and get inside where all the sweet man flesh and explosive shells are. Sorry, I got a little bit excited. It's all
I mean, you can ammo rack it, but that's not the point. Like, wait. For those of you who don't know how modern tanks work, let's talk about it for a second. First of all, the term shell, while not inaccurate, is a bit weird to say because modern tanks use APFSDS, or armor penetrating fin discarding, or fin stabilized discarding sabot. It's literally a really fast tungsten spear that you're shooting at things. And yeah, you can ammo rack it, but a lot of the times that first hit is gonna basically disable the tank. Like it's not gonna take that much. And especially in modern combat, we're seeing drones become more effective because of top armor and whatnot. But if you had enough ammo, you could shoot through thick steel. It's not like impervious to it. It's just not reasonable to assume that small arms would work on a tank.
Right.
Man, I didn't think I'd have to have this talk in a Dragon Ball video.
Yeah, just Bryce wanted to bring up tanks for some reason.
Yeah.
Very sexual.
Video.
It's why armor is angled, sloped, and composited, and so on. An attack has to be strong enough to get through the armor protecting someone in order to inflict any damage. Otherwise, it deals none at all.
Though?
That's kind of how I imagine these fucking key numbers work. The bigger your goddamn power level, the stronger a key field you put around your body, the stronger your armor. So if a weak little dipshit throws a Kienzan at your neck, hey, who cares? Didn't do nothing.
That's not canon.
It wasn't strong enough to get through. On the flip side, characters in the show can make attacks that are stronger than they are. So if an enemy has a lot of armor, you can make a 105mm shell that you can fire that you're pretty confident can get through that big-ass power level. But the thing is, the stronger the attack you have to use, the more it tires you out. That's why characters punch and kick one another. You think, shit, if one Kamehameha does the job, just use that shit all the time. Just keep firing those motherfuckers, right? Just keep pumping in that gas. And don't stop pumping those Kamehamehas until you're sure they're dead. But nah, it's hard work shooting marketing beams. So the goal of a fight is to just wear down your opponent with nice, safe, energy-conservative punches and kicks that are just barely strong enough to put little dents in that armor. That'll wear down their power level, their total ki, their stamina, their...
But
the point in the video where I realized I've been working on it a week and I'm still 1/4 done. You haven't really gotten to any real major point in your video. Like, I honestly don't understand why it's necessary to have this explanation of how ki works in order to extrapolate your point. Like, you haven't made that clear as to why your audience needs to understand what ki is in order to better understand your video.
The bigger problem too is he says like, oh, they have to wear them down, but when we look throughout the series, it's like, all right, Vegeta massively stronger than Goku. Goku has to use the Kaioken to really compete with him, which vastly tires out Goku. Frieza massively stronger than Goku. Not even the Kaioken works.
Yeah.
Cell, endless stamina, doesn't matter. Boo, endless stamina, doesn't matter. Right. And like even Goku says that he thought he could have beaten Fat Boo if he did one shot. Beerus, massively stronger.
Energies.
Even God was like barely tickling him. Frieza, they just let Frieza burn himself out.
Yeah.
Get easier to get in bigger attacks later on. And if they strengthen their armor so that your punches and kicks do no damage, it actually drains their stamina over.
You know what I'm gonna do? There we go.
God bless. Alright, let's keep watching.
Because this is so slow.
For time to keep that shit up. So it's ultimately self-defeating. So, approaching this nonsense, shit, sorta like a video game. In terms of a Dragon Ball fight, your overall goal is to weaken the ki field around your opponent by forcing them to draw on their own stamina reserves. You can raise the effectiveness of your own armor by pumping more power into it, but the cost is exponential, so it's generally a better idea to fight at a power level that you're comfortable being at. That's why Frieza lost his first 2 fights with Goku, and why Goku and Gohan trained to maintain Super Saiyan at a natural state. Playing keep up with this armor versus ballistic shit tires you.
Again. The reason why Frieza lost was he was still weaker than Goku, and Goku let him power up.
I'm also going to speed this up even more.
and the reason they did grade 4 is so they didn't have to waste energy going into Super Saiyan and then powering up because they were already in Super Saiyan. Plus the added benefit you get of unlocking grade 4, which is that you're stronger than grade 3.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
It's also why characters don't take much damage until the very end of a fight when they're exhausted, because they run out of the energy that they use to pour into the ki they're wrapping around their bodies to protect it in the first place. You can dump a lot of ki into a single attack to take down a stronger enemy, but if it doesn't kill or severely wound the target, you probably wasted more ki than they had to use to recover from the hit in the first place. That's why Vegeta failed to do much of anything to Cell, despite surprising him, and why they had such a hard time with Boo. Both could recover from pretty much anything because of how their bodies work, and they had so much ki in reserve that you basically had to blow them up with one shot to be able to get rid of them. Trying to wear them down didn't really work unless you could just overpower them by a huge margin. Now, does that sound really stupid and convoluted? Yeah, it's almost like it's stupid. There's
What? What do you mean? How is that convoluted? You just explained it all in like the most layman's way possible, and you're like, oh, by the way, all of that was stupid and dumb and convoluted. It is the probably most basic ass power system you can possibly have that is pretty easy to understand, and you just spent like nearly 10 minutes explaining it.
Against Kid Buu too, Goku was holding back because he kind of wanted Vegeta to have a turn, amongst other things. That was the problem. Like, Goku didn't go all out and just blow him away in one shot, because Goku kind of likes Kid Buu. I forgot why, but he kind of does.
Yeah, someone said earlier, was why does he sound angry? Probably because he had to finally try to, because he never actually gave a single brain cell to trying to understand something as simple as Dragon Ball, and then when he tried to, he then spent 5 minutes of doing so and got angry at the end for no reason.
This is one of those things
he had to put in effort.
This is one of those things where you can't enjoy Dragon Ball, it's so bad, and we're but it's not. It's but you're putting it's so look at all this convoluted stuff, and it's dog, it's not even that bad.
Yeah. Wait, let's see. Is he gonna give an explanation, chat? Is he gonna give an explanation for why it's stupid and convoluted? Let's see. For something as simple as Dragon Ball.
probably a good reason why Toriyama never explained any of this. Because if you...
But he... Wait. What does Toriyama need to explain? He needs to put it on a silver platter, oh, you need to understand... Oh, actually, he does right here in this one chapter. He explains ki, and you, talk about for 5 minutes through your, watching of Dragon Ball how it works via its demonstration and a lot of show not tell instances. But because he didn't give you a Hunter x Hunter borderline exposition dump explanation of how the power system works, you are incredibly frustrated that Toriyama didn't sit down to give it to you. What? God damn, I hate when people are just don't make sense.
Oh no!
Actually tried to write.
Wait! Something just popped up in my timeline.
What?
You know who Justin Wong is?
No.
The GOAT of fighting games, effectively. He retweeted a clip of Phil thinking the new Doom game looks bad, and he said, quote, "Guy who spent his life savings on the WWE card game looking at a gun that crushes skulls and turns them into bullets." Man. Phil's gonna shit the bed on the night stream, dude. Oh my lord.
No.
Alright, let's keep watching.
Write it out, it's apparent what a mess it is. I made myself angry talking about that, to say this.
What? Like,
why did you get so angry about it? Like, just to be like, oh, all that explanation, it was so stupid, so convoluted and stupid that I had to re-watch the series and re-go through it all just to understand it. Oh, the horror that I had to go through was I had to talk about real instances in the show in order to talk about how key works and better understand it for myself. All that dumb. Such a mess. So convoluted.
The only times I've been angry while like reading manga was like high key when we were doing the timeline stuff and when we were reading JJK. And that's it.
Yeah.
And I've read manga that's just people playing Mahjong before. I don't even know how to play Mahjong. Let's keep watching.
When you're world building a shonen, the rules of how powers work should be incredibly evident and easy to understand and apply.
Did you not just spend 5 minutes showing that Dragon Ball has completely done that for you?
Yeah.
Like, what has Dragon Ball not explained yet that you completely don't understand? And I hope you get into this explanation soon.
More than that, if you're going to have a story about fighting, about people developing techniques...
Hunter! He brings up Hunter!
Oh, no.
I fucking called it! I never watched this video before, and I knew he was gonna bring up Hunter as an example for a good power system. I'm going
to finish what I'm drinking to help me get through this part.
This should be in the bingo card. They bring up Hunter one time as a good example for a good power system.
Huh.
This should be in the fucking bingo card, bro.
I'm sorry, but no. Hunter,
Look, I will say this. I think Hunter is good. I think the power system is good. But we shouldn't, but just because you like how it works and how it's, how like a lot of how people use Nen in the series, like explain more about their own character, that doesn't then mean that Dragon Ball's sucks now because it isn't as intricate to who they are as a character. And honestly, I think it needs to take you a bit of time in order to understand then as comparison to Ki and Dragon Ball.
Chad agrees, change the bingo card. Well, I don't mind if the bingo card changes, but Hunter being brought up is so annoying, man. I haven't read Hunter. I probably should. I hope it's good. I hope it's not like, mid Kaizen, But
it's so much. I will tell you this, Hashi. It's so much better than Jujutsu Kaisen.
Do you think it's better than Bleach?
No.
Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, we read JJK together.
Bleach is good, and that's why it's really good, and that's why it's hard for me to say that it's.
No, I'm telling the story. So for those of you who don't know, me and Surfbone was on guard duty for like a month. We read through JJK together. It sucked, and then we read through Bleach, and Bleach was like actually good.
Yeah, that was what was funny was that as we were reading through Bleach, was that we ended up finding out more reasons why we didn't like JJK, and it by comparing it to Bleach, which was ultimately like its like biggest inspiration, and realizing, oh, this is what a good shonen should be, or this is like what JJK should have been doing.
I was telling Omar earlier.
Video? No, this was made 6 years ago.
I don't think we're not. None of us, at least. I think someone in the chat did, but no one the only newer point I've made is something about the Broly movie, but that's not like a crux point or whatever. And none of us are making accusations about him or whatever because of Toriyama's passing.
Yeah.
So, it's. I think You know, obviously it sucks that Toriyama died, but like you're still allowed to criticize Dragon Ball. You've always been allowed to, right? It's not. Yeah.
Watch Swag Kage's video. Why are you watching this guy's video? Because this one is effectively an anti-power scaling video. That's why.
Yeah. If you want us to watch the Swag video, drop a dono.
Yeah, drop a dono and tell us which video you want us to watch.
Hell, depending on how much it is, we might just call Swag Kage and have him watch it with us.
I don't know if you'll do that.
Yeah, it would be funny though. Just ask him.
It would be funny.
Wants us to watch your video.
Anyway,
keep watching.
Style with enemies. The story of each fight should revolve around how powers work or how moves work and how to counter them. JoJo had lots of writing.
Oh lord.
But what about the Saiyan saga, and like the Namek saga, where the human characters and Vegeta heavily like utilize the whole idea of hiding your power levels as a means to counter the enemy, who are heavily reliant on their scouters. Like
what about in the Cell arc where Goku knew that red bar. Goku knew that he wasn't strong enough to beat Cell, so instead what he did was he fought Cell to let Gohan know how to fight him.
Yeah.
Specifically.
And more or less give Gohan confidence that like thinking that Goku was actually holding back, but in fact Goku was giving his all against Cell just to prove to Gohan more that he is more of a match for Cell than he was. And to prove to everybody.
There's that really good moment where Goku's like, the reason you thought I was holding back was because you were comparing my power to your own.
Yeah.
And Gohan's like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And then, like, in order to, like, and then that's kind of like the whole, like, Goku giving the mantle off to Gohan, and that's why he, like, gave him the whole Senzu Bean bullshit, but yeah.
Justin Wong tweeted out again, DSP retiring would have the same effect as Kefka moving the statues in Final Fantasy VI. God damn it. This night stream's gonna be something, dude. Not so long. Alright, let's keep watching.
But it does this really well. One Piece has a small amount of power creep, but it also does this really well. Hunter x Hunter, same kind of deal, etc. If a character in your show is an evil baby that can pull unconscious enemies into a nightmare world created by the user, in which any injuries inflicted are transferred to the real world bodies of the victim, how do you murder the baby? You don't even know it's a murderous baby. You could kill the baby in real life if you knew.
Are you not going to talk about, like, the final fight of Part 3? Where it's literally just who's stronger?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Is he not going to talk about, like, the world?
Mm-hmm. Where essentially it was just, like Jotaro playing catch-up with Dio.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yes, let us compare our stand rushes. Like, no. Like JoJo's does have, like, these good problem-solving fights, but a big problem in Part 3 is that Jotaro could just steamroll most of the cast.
If that was Goku's strategy, then why heal him? Because he wanted to, like, give Gohan that bigger push, more or less. And then he wanted to, like, exact... Do you want to explain that part?
Oh, I was just going to say, there are arguments for the Senzu Bean, but it's like... Goku does explain, like, verbatim on panel that he wanted, like, Gohan to learn how to fight him.
Yeah.
Through him, like...
let me actually see if we can find the fight real quick.
Debatably, I also think that, what's it called? Gohan might have gotten wrung out by Cell. I don't think Gohan's, like, as much of a martial artist as Goku is in that regard. Obviously, he's stronger than Goku at this point, but... Like a grade 4 Gohan might have gotten wrung out by Cell if he fought him first, and then it would have been awkward that Goku has to go in now.
Oh yeah, he says Gohan, you're up. Yep. Oh yeah, it's like. Neither of you are fighting for real yet. It's like, I don't know about Cell, but I was doing my best. So to you, it looked like I was really trying, huh? Is that true, Gohan? Then goes, da-da-da. Gives him the bean. Cell's exhausted. It wouldn't be a fair fight. Who cares about fair? You fool, always the hero. You don't get this, but this will be your doom. I won't decline, of course, and you'll soon regret it.
Pretty sure there's a line, too, a bit later, where Goku explains that, like, he didn't think that if Gohan beat, like, a weakened Cell, that it would have,
Yeah.
like, it would have impacted Cell. Because, like, a big part of, like, the Cell arc is Cell thinks he's perfect here.
Yeah.
And so when Gohan's beating him, he's, like, flabbergasted. Like, when Gohan's in Super Saiyan 2. I kind of don't like these panels that are, like, shaded like this. I don't know. I
Yeah,
get
I
they
don't-
technically look better, but I don't...
Yeah, Goku, this is your fault. Your judgment was wrong. So you just kill Gohan. Don't jump to conclusions. Can you still feel Gohan's chi? It's like, enough of these games. Eat your sensu and fight me once again. Idiot, look behind you. And then Gohan's just fine. This spell's pointless. He starts making this whole point to him. Oh, I don't like fighting. I really want to see you mad.
It's wild to think that if Gohan didn't say that, the whole arc would have been different, right? Like, if Gohan never explained, like, oh, Goku's hoping that I get mad. You know?
Yeah.
Goku, greatest dad of all time. Yeah, that's like one of those controversial ones,
Yeah,
right?
that's itself. Make Gohan mad, then you'll know fear for the first time in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he did effectively do that. The way for him to get rage will unleash his true power, then we'll really see something. Our
wait,
only hope
Trent-
is Speed Cell is the power inside Gohan.
The chapter originally had color, but some of the releases made it black and white for whatever reason. Yeah, it just looks really weird. I don't know. Like, before I knew that, I thought it was just like a special thing they did for certain scenes where they just made it look extra, right?
Okay.
Gohan actually does a lot better in the manga than he does in Kai
Yeah.
against Cell.
Alright, I think we've seen enough, but
Yeah.
let's go back to this.
Knew it was the baby and where its tiny, crushable, supple body was. But maybe you can't use your powers while you're asleep. Why not? Maybe you can think of a way around that. Maybe if you're using your power as you fall asleep, you can summon it into the nightmare to kill the proxy body of the evil clown baby so you can feed it its own feces in the waking world. It's a thought. What if you're trapped in a jail and there's a warden whose entire body is made of poison? And he spits poison, and he shits poison, and also yet more poison. The jail isn't made of poison. Well, some parts might be. So you can't touch this guy. But what if there was a guy who was a living joke whose only power was that he could manufacture wax out of thin air? And even though this jailman is...
What if you knew this thing called hockey, which was an invisible force field you can project around yourself? Huh?
super
Or
strong.
like,
and
what if you had your brother who can use fire powers, or what if you had your brother's friend who can use martial arts to fling water at people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jinbei, who is right there too.
Or what if you had a villain in the series who has sand powers? Yeah, food for thought. Keep playing.
you can't touch his poo-poo. Waxman could make wax around the poo-poo, and also around the man who made the poo-poo. Therefore, you are safe from poison, and also by proxy any fecal-based products therein. Now, in these two scenarios, if you put them in Dragon Ball Z, probably not Dragon Ball, but definitely Z, Goku would probably solve both of these situations by turning into his strongest form to give himself a very big number, and then use a Kamehameha to overpower the enemy. Poison Man would get his poison blown away by the big number. Even Evil Clown Dream Baby would just get overwhelmed by all the power Goku had, and pass out because Goku was so strong.
To be clear what's happening, I think anybody who's watched Dragon Ball knows what's going on here, bro. Like,
I think the only person who doesn't know what's going on in Dragon Ball is Plague of Gripes.
yeah.
Also, I don't think that, like, overpowering a power is necessarily a bad thing. Like, I think if, like, current Luffy fought Magellan, he'd just go into Gear 5.
Yeah.
Like, what'd he do against Blackbeard? He wasn't like, what does Blackbeard's power do? No, Luffy's like a Gear 2nd, Gun Pistol, or Jet Pistol, my bad. Like, he just goes all out against Blackbeard from the start. Like, he doesn't give a shit. Same thing with Kaido.
Yeah, I don't. It's really funny how Plague of Gripes has this like mindset where it's just like, because how like Goku's like answers to those both like scenarios are just so simplistic, which is just he does big key aura thing and he thinks it's stupid. while Trent here in the chat is talking about how it's basically the rawest thing ever. Like, funny how we can have these two different interpretations about this, and it's just Plague of Gripes just hating on Dragon Ball effectively for being too simple of a series to understand. Like, that's effectively has been his critique the whole time.
Yeah, you know what was really cool? In the Tournament of Power, when Hit was trying to use his time skip on Jiren, and it didn't work. Because Jiren was him.
Yeah.
God, I love Jiren.
Wow, how compelling. What a grand adventure we're on with Goku, on his quest to get a big number. Alright, point being, Dragon...
Vegeta would later describe Goku as a genius for doing this. His jealousy over this plan is the crux for why he betrays Goku, becomes Monte Vegeta.
No! It's not... That's not the point. The point, what happens is that Goku accidentally shows a sliver of his true power, and Vegeta's like, what? He got that much stronger? Like, God.
Mr. Plague of Gripes, like, writer mindset isn't big enough to understand the reason why Vegeta got really butt mad from what Goku displayed against Yakon.
Yeah.
Go figure, Mr. I'm going to dismantle, like, Toriyama's, like grand baby because I got the writer's mindset, and Toriyama effectively doesn't care about good writing, apparently.
Dragon Ball lost its fight creativity a long time ago. The value of a series that is about employing a rule set about fighting is the application of the rules that you create. Early Dragon Ball did this in a playful way. One character's power was that he just fucking stinks. He stinks! He rubs his hands all over a sweaty ball sack and makes you smell his finger. That's his attack! Another is a psychic. He can float and control your body, but he gets really distracted with math problems. Another guy is a reverse werewolf that turns into an ugly man when he looks at the moon that Jackie Chun, blew up, so he reflects light off Krillin's bald-ass head to make it look like a moon, to make him ugly again. Uglier. Debatable. Even now, with Goku fighting Beerus or Zamasu or Jiren or whomever, the actual fights have not changed since Dragon Ball. The feats you physically see are the same. No one really has done anything any more dramatic than Roshi blowing up the moon in episode 27 of Dragon Ball. Feat strength throughout all of the series has never really changed much, because if you went past that limit, fights wouldn't make any sense visually. You couldn't draw them. It would just be panel after panel of action lines with other panels of stars and galaxies being atomized. It would be stupid. And more than that, it would be boring. We're simply told that characters are faster or stronger, or that they can't be seen by one another anymore.
Pause.
And that happens constantly.
You remember that scene in Battle of Gods when everybody tried to stop Beerus and they couldn't? You remember that scene in Battle of Gods when King Kai is telling Vegeta, Goku went Super Saiyan 3 and everything, and he got taken down in 2 blows?
Yeah.
You remember that scene in the Tournament of Power where Goku in his red-haired god form goes to punch Jiren? We get the same shockwaves we saw in Battle of Gods, and Jiren's blocking it with a finger?
Oh, someone made a good point. What is Meruem if not my number is bigger than yours? And I would bet he would say that Meruem is one of the greatest characters on Hunter x Hunter. True! Literally, the thing is, Meruem doesn't have a very, like, cool mindset. He is just basically, I punch hard and I'm a strong dude. He doesn't have any, like, super extravagant abilities. Like, that's not, like, and he doesn't, like, end up creating, like, super cool men abilities like his other, like the Royal Guard end up doing. Like, what ends up becoming the main focus of Meruem is not just how strong he is as a character, and it doesn't even incorporate into his Nen either, but, like, how he ends up becoming more human than most of the other characters in the series. And that, at least to me, is, like, the main drive of why, like, I think Meruem is a very interesting character. But Clayton made a really good point that, like, that's who Meruem effectively is, if you go at it by like, the Plague of Gripes standpoint, is that Meruem sucks because he's not as intricately, like, in, like, the power system of Nen as every other character in the series. So that must mean Meruem sucks, I guess.
Some people are talking about, like, oh, well, there's better feats than Roshi. That's not the point. The point he's making is that Roshi making a big boom is cool because it's a big boom, but big booms get old. But, like, we do get more eloquent displays of feats, so later on in the series.
I guess this guy just would hate watching something or reading something like One Punch Man, because like Murata has found, like, a really cool way of displaying those types of feats like within fights or whatever.
No, Plague of Gripes would think One Punch Man is really clever because it's a quote-unquote deconstruction. And he'd say something like, it's a gag manga making fun of Dragon Ball. That's what he would say.
Oh no.
That's what Plague Grips would say.
To reassure the audience that yes, progress is happening. And then everyone can see one another again later because I guess their eyes got better, and Toriyama needs people to commentate on how strong Goku is, and they can't do that if they can't see him. Otherwise, if characters aren't telling the viewer that the fight is better than the last one, we wouldn't know, because it all looks the fucking same.
That's not true.
Don't worry, this punch that you've seen 1,000 times is actually the best punch anyone has ever thrown. Please believe us, because this is the only value of the series. If you took what...
He would hate most, like, Chinese martial arts movies or Bruce Lee movies, bro. Because it's just... They just fight each other, and it's just the same thing over and over again, effectively.
He would hate watching any, like, UFC fight with Alex Pereira, where Alex Pereira just fucking... Yeah, like,
It's just another fight. It's the same thing over and over again.
Oh yeah, we needed Joe Rogan to tell us that when Alex Pereira slapped Jamal Hill, that it's like the best punch ever. It's like, no, dude, like, no, Alex Pereira is an assassin, man.
I keep looking over at this Goku image because it's so good. It just,
yeah,
I kind of get mesmerized by it a few times. Not gonna lie.
Let's keep watching the video.
Characters say about one another is lol. Everyone would be moving so fast that none of their brains would be able to even process.
Wait, does he have, like, a moment where he just says, like, a launch is beautiful for no reason? Hold on. I'm hitting, like, the arrow key. It's just going, frame by frame.
If you took what characters say about one another is lol.
Yeah, God, launch is so... Like, why did you have to say that in the middle of your video?
Yeah,
you
I was about
Coomer.
to say...
Like...
I mean, you might not want to see what Trent retweeted recently, but you know.
Oh.
Yeah, Trent. I saw that. Anyways, no, but that guy, the announcer guy in the Boo Saga, he knows that Mr. Satan's weaker than Goku and them. Like, he says it. He's aware of it.
Yeah, he's like, it was probably you guys that took care of Cell, right? Not Mr. Satan. I know you guys.
Yeah.
I know you, Goku.
Yeah, like, I think it's fine for people to be able to see Goku in them. He says this thing about, like, your brain processing, but, like, you can improve your reaction speed even in real life.
Oh, dude. Actually, yeah, like, someone, Alex made a good point. He would hate the Rocky movies, bro. Plague of Gripes would loathe the Rocky movies because it's just, man learns how to throw bigger, like, harder punch at the end.
Ivan Draco is, like, the, perfect man. He's doing, like, state-of-the-art training, and...
He's, like, throwing, like, 2,000 pounds in a singular punch. Oh, no. It's just a bigger punch man to Plague of Gripes. That's just all he is.
Everyone would be moving so fast that none of their brains would be able to even process it. There's something called a tiger beetle that runs so fast for its body size, it can cover 120 of its own body lengths in 1 second. It's so fast that it actually has to stop running just to see where the hell it even is. Light just becomes a smear of nonsense information if you go too fast. Even if it was key, like, they don't rely on their eyesight, they're the sensing key. Even if that's the case, there's still a limit to how fast your electricity-based brain computations...
Yeah, they make this point in Resurrection F.
Yeah,
but...
and also, you can't say this, that it's only... Why is it only a case in Dragon Ball and not in any other series ever that go beyond the speed of sound, bro? Like, how is it, like, seemingly, like, also, like, Hunter x Hunter is, like, exempt from this? Or that, like... Naruto or any other shonen for that matter that goes beyond the speed of sound is like, oh, it's only when they get to the speed of light that I'm gonna have to, like, throw this criticism, like, they're like, oh, there's so much, like, information that your body can process where it wouldn't be able to process it moving at the speed of light or whatever. Maybe that's just how Dragon Ball works, bro. Like, it's a fictional series, bro. Like, why are you just getting so mad at it? Because you just don't like how it's simplistic, like, the power system is, and, like, these characters are fighting at this speed or whatever. It's just like when I had this example where it's like, if I gave this, like, immaculate story for, like, these two characters running in a race, and you were just so enthralled by it, but then I revealed at the end that they were running at the speed of light, does that all of a sudden, like, take away the enjoyment you had from the series that I just made? Probably
the
not.
The argument I usually use is, imagine if you have, like, The Godfather, right? This, like, masterpiece of a movie. Now, let's say there's an infinite dimensional statement in it. Is that movie now worse? Like, no. We can keep watching.
can process this shit. Even if they're the fucking Flash, and their powers are relativity-based, that would still mean they're fighting at the same speed they were in Dragon Ball, as long as their power levels match up. Trying to convince the audience that everyone is actually so fast that they're not only flying, kicking, and firing ki beams faster than sound and light, but also that these fucks are fucking talking while they're doing it, faster than light. Talking to one another, faster than light.
There's a scene in Young Justice where it shows that like the Flashes can talk faster. I don't see why these people can't.
Yeah.
Like,
It's kind of like baffling that he's just like, again, this same criticism could be applied to any other show, including Hunter x Hunter, by the way.
It's more than that. This is like what usually like the anti-power scalers do, where it starts off like praising like lower power level stuff, like street level, whatever, and then you just keep pointing out like, oh, isn't it absurd this can happen? And it's like, not really.
Yeah.
Like, it happens. Nothing trumps the text. No amount of you saying this is absurd trumps what happens. Factually speaking, these people are just talking faster than light.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry that, like, something on screen is so baffling for you that you have to, like, question your own reality. It's like, how are these guys talking? Oh my, like, while they're fighting at the speed of light, oh my god. And it's, like, trying to convince your audience of that. And it's just, like, no one's trying to convince anyone of anything. They're trying to enjoy Dragon Ball, bro. The only type of people who are having this criticism are you, who apparently hate this thing so much because it's not OG Dragon Ball anymore. It's not a gag manga.
Yeah.
Is the most asinine thing you could ever convince yourself to believe.
No, it's not.
And people believe it. There are fans that will argue until they're blue in the face that because power levels are in the quintillions now, that we're just seeing a slowed down version of events for our benefits.
That's true.
Yeah, why can't that be the case? But like, you can't actually argue against that because you'll just be like, but it's stupid. That's absurd. I can't imagine that.
Saying it's absurd is not a defeater to it being true. Like, I'm sure if you went back in time and told people, like, the Earth is round, they tell you you're absurd. Like, that doesn't change anything.
Dispo and Frieza were moving and talking so fast that the Zendos had to use the God Pad in slow-mo because they couldn't even perceive and or watch it.
What's it called? I've read a novel where the whole novel took place in stop time. And a big part of it is that normal, like, precog doesn't work in stop time, and instead what they have to do is they have to use tarot cards to predict the future in stop time. That's just how the metaphysics... Yeah, that's just how the metaphysics works. Is tarot cards are more fundamental than fate.
He's just arguing for this show to not exist. Yeah, I agree, Paul.
Yeah.
Also includes them talking to one another. So these fights are supposed to actually be 5 minutes long or 10 minutes long, but over the span of a whole arc is actually literally hour. Like, if you just count the lines of dialogue, if you measure the amount of time that they spend just talking, it's longer than the fight could conceivably ever be. Even if it went into the negative values, it's still for our benefit.
The problem is he's using anime time when in the manga you have no way to tell how, like, the pauses or whatever. Like, this is purely an anime issue. If you're saying they say 5 minutes and it takes longer than 5 minutes to animate.
Yeah. Realistically, anybody who's watching Dragon Ball isn't really thinking this way. Like, at all. They're never, like, talking about, like, how are these guys talking and they're moving at the speed of light? No one's actually thinking this, bro. Like,
I've seen people who, like...
actually nobody.
I've seen people who, like, meme about it, but no one makes this as a genuine argument.
No.
It's just that we're seeing it slow down. Fuck you. The characters are no stronger than they were in Dragon Ball. Mountains blow up at the same size, beam sizes...
What?
That's, like, demonstrably false, though. Do you want to show the clip of, any planet feat? Do you want to show the Battle of Gods feat? Do you want to, like...
No, characters are the same... Wait, hold on.
You can use dialogue to measure time. No, you can't. Like, it is not some stable measurement of time. That's wrong.
I'm gonna go back a few... Nope. It's not this one.
Wait, scroll up, actually. Scroll up. Right there. Done. Yep. See that where there's that flash in space? That is a better feat than anything in OG Dragon Ball, guaranteed. Unironically. Like,
characters are stronger than they were in original Dragon Ball.
That is a better feat than anything in OG Dragon Ball, unironically. And it didn't even succeed in blowing up the planet.
Yeah. This is not the one I was looking for.
Are you looking for the one where like Goku haymakers the thing up in the sky?
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to find... No, because I know it's not in here.
Oh, wait, scroll up, sorry.
Yeah, here it is. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Read it long and clear, chat. Mr. Plague of Gripes. These characters have never been, or haven't gotten any stronger since OG Dragon Ball. From the main character himself. So the monster who can destroy a planet can't even destroy one little man.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy how we can just read the actual series and just, like, actually just ultimately disprove your entire point, because it's clear that you just are in complete fucking denial and you're coping mega hard, bro.
I think Plague of Grapes is Egyptian because he's in denial.
He definitely in denial.
Are the same. Characters vanish the same as they always have. The feats are the same because they have to be on the page. They have to be understandable enough for the reader to grasp their scope, but also just large enough to be impressive. The fights are the same.
Disagree.
Nope.
And you cannot impress me with this. The ceiling was hit a long time ago. You could have Goku rear back
again.
into a fucking...
Sorry. I'm sorry, everybody, for pausing again, but the problem with, like, what he's bringing up is that convincing people is irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
You can cross your... Like, that's literally what he's doing. He's literally saying, I don't care what you show me, my arms are crossed. And it's like, well, good to know you're being stupid.
Yeah, like, you're ultimately, like, being very stubborn because you're very much in your, like, I don't want to be upset or, like, to be disproven because my monkey brain can't understand, like, something as simple as Dragon Ball and how much more powerful it gets.
Wait, Zero TC says hell nah, and if he's Egyptian, we disown him. Big up, Zero TC.
Hold on, I just remembered. Wait, hold on, because this guy said that Wait, nope, not this one. They've been as strong as they were back in Z, huh? Or back in the original Dragon Ball?
Just got here. What did I miss? A whole lot of nothing. I'm shuffling my cards right now. So.
Plague of Gripes being really stupid and claiming that because a lot of like what is like a lot of the combat is very similar to what it was in original Dragon Ball, that the characters haven't gotten any stronger since then.
Yeah.
Even though
I think the fights in Naruto are the same.
Yeah.
I think the fights in Naruto are the same. So obviously Mitsuki is the same strength as Madara. Obviously.
Yeah.
Like... Alright, let's keep watching.
Kamehameha for the millionth goddamn time, and he fires this shit into space. It goes past the moon to show the scale. We missed the moon back again, right? It blows up the moon again, for the hell of it. It goes past the sun, and the beam gets wider and eclipses the whole sun. It's bigger than the sun. This shit puts Sephiroth's pussy supernova to shame. And we pan out, and we see the fucking beam just lawn mowing through the whole galaxy now. The whole Milky Way galaxy. It's just a cone of blue ki plowing through the whole galaxy. And then it pans out even more. And we see the whole galactic cluster, the whole local cluster. And the beam just starts exploding galaxies because it's so big. And we cut back to Goku on Earth. And it's just a cloud of dust and blue shit. And he's screaming, "Ah! Super Saiyan Ultra Deluxe 6.7 Baconator Edition! Kaioken times 4 Google Quinbillion!" And it shows the fucking universal Milky Way supercluster. And the beam just, it vaporizes all of it. And it zooms out again. And it's just white light. Because it's too zoomed out, and all you're seeing are dots of ultra clusters of galaxies. Like pixels on a computer monitor. And Goku is just mowing them all down because he's so strong and his number is so big. And then it goes to Cell or Jiren or Demigra or Pilaf. after absorbing the 7 rainbow multiverse Dragon Balls of Legend or whatever, and he's like, oh no, his power level is too big, and he vanishes. Because the big Kamehameha was the biggest.
He's just
and
super butthurt that people enjoy Dragon Ball. Like he's just like, man, how like you guys can't enjoy this, but it's like, dog, if Goku did that on page, it'd be hype as shit, dude. Like,
yeah,
like he's actually butt mad. Like, holy fuck.
Field of white light from before has a big black cone where the strong attack hit to kill the bad man, and Goku's back on Earth, and he wipes his brow and he gives a thumbs up to the camera. Goku, I'm not impressed. That was stupid, what you did.
No one
You
cares
should be
about you.
ashamed
You
of
don't even
yourself.
like Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball hit that ceiling a long, long time ago. The feats are the same, because if Goku did that, it would be like a drunk hitting rock bottom and waking up in a gutter full of dead cats and realizing he had gone too far. The feats
Why
are
is
the
that going
fucking
too
same.
far? Like,
I still don't understand why he keeps saying the feats are the same, even if like that did happen.
I think to
I don't get
him,
what his point is.
His point is that Big Boom is Big Boom, but it's like that contextualizes stuff. Like we could also have like characters beating one another. That's why we scale them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, goddamn.
It doesn't matter what number you attach to it, to convince the audience that there has been plot escalation. Dragon Ball's power levels have not changed much at all since the very first pages of Goku shrugging off a gunshot. Goku didn't improve when he fought Tailpipe High. He was given an artificially created point of contention and then allowed to move past it after a scene that only existed to assure the viewer that he was making progress in his training. That's the whole point of that scene. That's how
thereby invalid.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball is written.
Any argument about intent is just automatically invalid. Honestly.
Why? How did this happen? How did we go from creative, fun fights to angry-faced number battles? Well, like I said before.
Are you not including
The
the
answer to
hit
most-
fight? Are you not including the Jiren fight?
Yeah.
Are you not including like a lot of these really neat fights that come up, like Piccolo against Frost, Krillin versus Blue Goku? We're not talking about any of those, are we?
Zamasu.
Yeah, there's all of the Zamasu fight, especially in the manga where he's throwing the Kashin bricks at them, dude.
Yeah.
And
Zamasu was like quite literally somebody that like it didn't matter how strong they were, because they didn't have like a real good counter to his immortality. There was just no way of beating him.
Zamasu is like a Final Fantasy boss, dude, with most of his attacks.
Yeah,
it's cool, really cool.
Most of the shit comes down to marketing and Toriyama's horrible writing.
Intent argument.
Why is it horrible writing? Because it's so simple, like that you can't just enjoy how simple it is. Like it has to be like Hunter X Hunter, a big brain. I must strategize all the time. Like,
wait, sorry. Button Z said this feels like he's trying to say realism equals better. Yeah, it's one of those like, oh, the street tier versus street tier Robin debates are infinitely better than Thor versus Superman because we're talking about like jujitsu. Like, no. Let's keep watching.
Yeah. The guy is called like Play of Gripes, by the way, Insomnia.
Dragon Ball is the granddaddy of shonen, so it's not like it was emulating bad behavior that was cancerous to the genre already. Toriyama manufactured this exact problem. But this problem of narrative escalation has always existed in writing. If Ahab had killed Moby Dick and then survived to Moby Dick 2, would he have had to kill an even wider whale? With even more canvas-like elements, projecting his character flaws back upon him as he attempted to slay the sins handed down from Adam on down, until his heart bursts again like a cannon upon the mirror of his own soul? I don't know, maybe. If your character completes their arc, and you still want to use the character, what the hell do they do? Common problem. It's just that in Shonen, the problem isn't...
arc.
Yeah.
Like, if someone's arc is like, oh, I want to learn how to fly, and then they learn how to fly, it's like, well, do they know how to swim? Or how does them knowing how to fly now cope with, like, these other factors about their character? Like,
Yeah.
alright, Gohan beat Cell, and he has fought for seemingly the last time, but now his dad is coming back to life, so he wants to, like, learn to fight again, kind of, to compete with his dad in this tournament. But then there's a new villain, and Gohan's old power isn't enough now, so he has to re-unlock all these old lessons. Like, man. Let's keep watching.
None literal. It's the physical crux of the entire setting. Shonen Jump, when Dragon Ball was being published, had been around for about 2 decades. It was established. And this was 1980s Japan. The United States was actually afraid that the Japanese economy would surpass them at the time.
Like, is he going to talk about Fist of the North Star, or is he going to pretend that manga didn't exist? That's what I'm
I
wondering.
remember hearing this shit on the news all the time whenever I was a kid. Before the Berlin Wall came down, also Challenger explosion and Iran hostage crisis. 80s were fucked up. But in Japan, business was cutthroat. You needed to maintain that fucking reader count. And if your manga establishes that an old man is the strongest person in the world, the readers immediately want to know, when does Goku get stronger than the old man? Dragon Ball Super right now is desperately trying to reel in power levels. It really is. It's doing it with tiers now, they still exist, but they're trying desperately not to focus on it too much. But even now, fans are still angry that Goku hasn't gotten stronger than Beerus. When's it going to happen? When's he going to beat Beerus? Jiren is the new hot shit at this moment. And people are already wanting to know, who's the strongest guy ever is going to...
In the anime, Jiren was high-key stronger than Beerus anyways.
True.
Like, the point that Beerus brought was that there's this new realm of power, and we have this dude who's just way stronger than Goku. And Goku, even after doing something he hated doing, relying on others, couldn't even touch him. Alright, so Goku's fighting a ton of new enemies. Now, when's he going to be stronger than Beerus? What? And I don't know if this was made before the Tournament of Power ended, but he was stronger than Beerus at the end of the tournament in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep watching.
to be after that? What's the next one? What's the next strongest man? And he hasn't even fought anyone yet. Jiren hasn't even fought. And people already want to know what's going to come after that. Will it be El Padre Grande? Is he secretly the real god of the universe? Can white-haired Colombian edgelord Gohan defeat this new threat?
Yeah, then there's Beast Gohan right there.
Yeah, Beast Gohan.
Plague of Gripes predicted Beast Gohan.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure if you told this guy that it was the next villain was Broly, and then the villain after that would only be in the manga, and then the villain after that would only be in the manga, and then the villain after that would be Cell again. I don't know if you'd believe it.
Yeah. No. Well, granted, I do agree that, like, Dragon Ball's getting to, like, the point where, hopefully in Daima, I hope that changes, but,
Nah, your ass knows Daima's gonna take place in between Boo and Battle of Gods.
Oh, no. Wait, should we make that a poll?
No.
Yes. Yeah.
Alright, let's finish off the video.
No, we're gonna make a poll before the end of this video. Alright, guys. Is Daima gonna take place between Boo and Super, or after the, let's say, like, the Tournament of Power?
Yeah.
After...
No, just say after Superhero.
Oh, okay, after Superhero.
Yeah.
Superhero.
He'll probably say that Cell Max is no stronger than Perfect Cell. Clown.
Boo and Super.
I hope they do reveal Jiren having a brother. Yeah. El Grande Padre. El Hermano.
Not El Hermano. If they unironically make El Hermano, I'm going to die.
Yeah. Alright, let's finish off the video.
That's where Dragon Ball peaked right there.
El Hermano.
Once you kill him, do they go to another multiverse? Fans don't care. They're like dumb little kids. If you show them something, they want it.
No. You don't get to bring up Dragon Ball Multiverse is unironically better than the Super manga. Let's keep watching.
You want it now. Baby, what now? And you can't step backwards. If Goku defeats the fucking devil and his reincarnation, what do you do then? Well, better go to fucking space. Shonen Jump's offices.
Yeah, why not?
Like, why is that such a bad... Like, again, he just hates Dragon Ball, bro, in every single facet. He's complaining about everything. Like, there's nowhere for Dragon Ball to go, so go to space. That's so fucking stupid. I'm gonna talk about it in this really condescending voice, in which I'm acting like Toriyama and I'm making the decisions about where Dragon Ball's gonna go from here, since he's now defeated basically the devil on Earth.
Alright, hopefully we can finish off the video.
It pressures writers to maintain this escalation, so readers will keep being interested in what's happening in the future. If you went from the Demon King Piccolo to Goku fighting bandits or something. No one's gonna buy it. It's nonsense. That's probably what happened to GT, other than it being shit. They go out into space, where supposedly Frieza was nightmarishly stronger than anyone who had ever lived. After killing his super clone cell, and after killing Boo, the incarnation of evil itself. And there's just guys there. Guys that are stronger than that. For no reason. Just with no explanation. Because new enemies...
No, pause. It's been like 17 years. People can get stronger. That's not the problem with GT. That was never the problem with GT.
It's just that GT made shit villains, like, most of the time. Like...
The Shadow Dragons were really cool, and, like, Legic and Rildo had cool designs, but they don't, like, they're not characters. Most of them aren't, at least.
Yeah, it's just, like, the reason why people didn't like GT wasn't because that there happened to be more characters, it's just that the characters were shit. Like, it's just like how everyone didn't like that we were effectively getting an evil Goku in Super, but because he got really good fucking execution in his first episode and was pretty well written for most of the time that he was on screen, everyone likes him.
And Zamasu's cool too. It's like he saw the tournament and he's like, mortals can't be that strong. That ain't right. I'm gonna fix it.
Which is like that shit was good. Like, am I saying baby's ass? I'm just saying that that generally the reason why people generally hated GT was that the characters were not that good, especially in comparison to Z, and that's why people generally didn't like GT. I'm not saying that I think that Baby was ass for most of the time.
Baby's an alright character, but he's not like enough to carry GT. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Mind you, you know who else is a great character? Beerus.
Yeah.
Wait.
Essentially for a lot of people, Beerus was the saved Dragon Ball, and is the reason why Dragon Ball Super even became a thing, because Battle of Gods was such a good film, and Beerus was such a well written character, and so was Whis, and it was a great way to introduce that there's more to the series of Dragon Ball, and that there's multiple universes out there. The problem that me and Hashi have, especially, is that we haven't gone to those other universes yet. We're still waiting on that visit to Universe 6 still. That they could easily do in the next arc, which I hope that Toyotaru does or something. I really don't know what he plans on doing for the next arc, because Granola was fucking terrible. Let's hope that Dragon Ball is in good hands with Toyotaru, and he actually,
he actually explores the world that he made, that
Toriyama left him.
Have to be stronger, or you lose viewers, you lose readers. In terms of writing, each new threat has to be entirely new, and a step up in severity from the last. Other shonens get around this problem by moving horizontally.
But JoJo's is not like that, though.
For one,
JoJo's is definitely not like that, bro.
For one, we go from vampires in part 1 to the Pillar Men, which look at the vampires like they're subhuman. And then we go to Dio, who has the ultimate stand.
And then you go to part 4.
Yeah, part 4 where it's a mystery and it's Josuke's doing it, but even then Jotaro's stronger than him. And then part 7 is another universe. But even then we're still... Funny Valentine is still a much bigger threat than you're giving him credit for.
Just like a bad MMO versus a good MMO, which almost none of, the easiest way to release new content is to release stuff that's the same strength as the shit that you already have, but packaged in a completely new way.
What? Wait, hold on, I need to hear what he said.
To release new content moving horizontally. Just like a bad MMO versus a good MMO, which almost none of, the easiest way to release new content is to release stuff that's the same strength as the shit that you already have, but packaged in a completely new way. That way it's...
What? No. That's the only way to make something, is use the same strength for characters you already have, but just present it in a whole new different way.
Because
that's how Hunter x Hunter works, clearly.
That's not even true, because a lot of MMOs suffer when it's just endgame content.
Is he saying a series should end once a character completes their arc?
Effectively,
that's what he's saying with Goku, because he's with Tao Pai Pai, his only goal, his only real goal when when it comes to defeating Tao, it's just a physical one. That he just needs to get stronger, and he just found like that whole thing pointless, even though it wasn't.
It's still interesting because you've never seen it, but ultimately it doesn't tip the damage scale. A bad MMO or a poorly written show fucks this up by just raising numbers because they know people will buy it to keep up. And the thing is, even though all Shonen faces
if Dragon Ball was all just about a big number, big boom, then people wouldn't have watched the show. And you wouldn't have cared to have actually watched it past the fucking like Saiyan arc, bro. People don't. It's not the godfather of shonen just because of people like big number, big boom.
Yeah.
That's not why people like Dragon Ball, and I think it's incredibly disrespectful that you think that way, and are attributing it that people are so like small-minded whenever they're watching the show that's their big takeaway. And for every single shonen mangaka that has ever been inspired from this show.
I think he just doesn't understand Dragon Ball. And that's it.
Apparently,
we keep watching.
He's a typical Dragon Ball fan that doesn't understand the series.
market pressure. It's still primarily Toriyama's fault. It's not like he just slipped and fell, oh, I can't help it. It's still his fault. He never needed to establish that Roshi was the world's strongest. He never needed to make it clear that the immediate cast was the only group of high-level fighters. When they went into fucking...
Why did you have to show this? You didn't have to show this.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of sussed out here, honestly, man.
Space.
This is sus.
Where there are infinite worlds, infinite galaxies, infinite superclusters of galaxies. Toriyama never needed to state that Frieza was the strongest person there. He took a setting that could, in theory, be infinite. Literally infinite. And he reduced...
But he expanded upon it in Super.
Yeah.
And he somehow was able to be like, oh, at least in terms of people who are living, Frieza's the strongest one here. And then somehow like made it more interesting by then introducing Cell, who is the culmination of every single strongest fighter that has ever set foot on the Earth. And then turns out like there's also another strong strongest character who's just been dormant for several million years, and then ends up in, and because of that threat, it introduces the world more by introducing the Supreme Kais as characters, and being like, oh, we're the overseers of the universe, and we're here to tell you that this is like a super huge threat that's about to happen. It's like Toriyama actually ended up incorporating all these different like villains in a very seamless way that made sense, and where Frieza being the strongest in the universe didn't hinder the rest of the series. Like, he actually came up with really clever ideas, but apparently not to you for whatever reason. Dane donated $5.
Oh, big ups.
Yeah, thanks, Dane. Are we just ignoring the actual class warrior themes of the Saiyan saga?
Plague of Gripes is.
Yeah, Plague of Gripes. Yeah, definitely Plague of Gripes is. Again, thank you for the $5, Dane. Really appreciate the support.
To the size of a couple of cities narratively by stating that the only landmarks in power were the ones immediately visible. Stupidest thing in the world to do, and he did it intentionally. Maybe he should aim to do the stupidest thing in the universe now. Oh wait, he did with a multiverse. Now there are 12 universes, not another one, not two.
But wait, why is that stupid? That's what you wanted.
Yeah, what's wrong with this?
What is wrong with this?
Yeah, let's keep watching.
12. And what's the first thing he does? Gather all the strongest guys from all of them at the same time. And guess what? As a joke, almost all of them are weak, stupid-looking jobbers. Again, he narratively reduces the scope of his own setting and the internal landmarks of the character's potential stories for no reason at all. Infinite possibilities. 12. 12 infinite possibilities. And he blows his wad on the first jerk. I harp on this all the time. For those of you that don't know. When you're world building, there's two things you don't want to do. One, do not state the scope or limits of your setting. That is, don't set your story universe on one island and mention there's nothing beyond it. This is the only island. Don't introduce that the bad guys are 4 gods that created your entire setting and are stronger than anyone, and then kill them off in the first story. And 2, do not limit the potential diversity of anything you introduce in your setting. So don't introduce a race of crocodile.
Pause. Is that there's actually 4 more universes that may have been wished back, debatably.
Yeah.
And there's also the universes that didn't compete, which are supposedly stronger.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the possible people that weren't rounded up yet. or the people who were dead. Like, no, he's on the cap.
And granted, while I do agree that it was kind of weird for Toriyama to immediately blow the load on like a bunch of other like universes, I just realized he used that form of phrase.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Okay. You have fun.
Yeah. But while I do agree that like the one weakness of the tournament power is that effectively he kind of like lessered the scope of a bunch of them by bringing up like a bunch of their strongest characters to one tournament, and a lot of it kind of got wasted, and most of the tournament of power is kind of a slog. Also, Hunter x Hunter takes place on one island. Yeah, this guy is just a no fun haver. We can't have fun in Dragon Ball whatsoever. No fun. But kind of like Hashi said, there's still a lot that hasn't been expanded upon just from those few universes, and Dragon Ball isn't just always about the next biggest, strongest guy. And effectively, like, the Z Fighters can visit the other universes, or for whatever reason that doesn't involve them having to visit the next strongest guy. Like, Universe 6, for instance. Dane, with another $5. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it. You know what would be crazy? If the Supreme Kais just didn't know every person, like when Supreme Kai was shocked that Goku was so strong. Very true. That is also very true. Like, the other Supreme Kais could also just be really, really unknowledgeable about their own universe and just be unaware that there might be actually stronger guys. That's actually a pretty good point there. I'm still shocked that he says that there's been no development in power. That's just absurd. Yeah, I don't understand that either.
Sorry. I just saw the super chat.
Yeah, do you want to read that real quick? See, it's actually kind of a pretty good point.
Sure. You know what would be crazy if the Supreme Kai just didn't know every person, like when Supreme Kai was shot? Yeah, no, exactly.
Like
it's almost like play.
So it's like just like it's like every like there could be some universes where they're just like Shin, where they don't know every single person in their universe, so they might have missed an extra strong person that they could have used.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Power. Yeah.
There could also be people who are sealed by magic that they don't know about. Or yep. Yeah, no, for sure. Let's keep watching.
People or whatever, and say they all have a specific green color skin, they all have yellow eyes, and they all dress the exact same clothing, and they all act and believe the same things. It's a fantasy world, and you're obliterating its potential magic of discovery and restricting narrative potential for absolutely no reason other than you are fetishizing a particular element of it. And that's exactly what Toriyama's problem is. He loves the idea of someone being the strongest in the world, the strongest in the universe, the strongest in the multiverse. Why? Because it's a lazy, easy way to make it clear the stakes are as high as they could ever get, and when you win, it's a huge victory. He fetishized that.
No. Effectively,
I feel like he's just butt mad that Toriyama doesn't have to like write a bunch of like fluffy bullshit. Like,
yeah, it's just like with Cell, it became like a thing where it's just like where like the Earth would be doomed if Cell ultimately beat everybody, and then Cell wreaks havoc on the universe, and then Boo's just like that but infinitely worse. Where it's just like, now, like, they just realize that there's other people in the universe, like the Supreme Kais, who can't even deal with Boo, and if they don't deal with him in a very specific way that ultimately destroys him, like, completely, then the universe is kind of fucked. And then Beerus comes up, who's kind of similar in a way. But, yeah, like, Toriyama is just not this, like, freaking basic, and it's clear that there's more to it than this, and this is, like, the most lame man's, like, I am, like, taking away all other context and, like, bastardizing it to this really lame example of, like, oh, Toriyama is super lazy with his writing, and this is all he cares about. Like, no.
So much throughout his entire career that it has poisoned every element of not only his own series, but other series as well that came afterwards. That's why Power Level.
Why do you think people liked those aspects of his series, like other shonen manga?
It's almost like they worked.
Yeah, it's almost like they liked them and that there were good ideas. Maybe you just aren't. I could guarantee you, if he tried to make a manga, that it would be shit and nobody would like it, and then he would get
100%.
because that's effectively what some other YouTubers have tried to do. That they think that they're so good at like at writing manga that they would guarantee you that they can make a better one, and then just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Like,
All right,
like quite literally, the only person that I know from our community who has successfully done something like that was unironically DH Animations.
Oh, it's a dog.
Well, yeah,
dog
like
shit, yeah.
someone gave me another way of saying it. Dong Ningen. Like he made
Yeah.
the manga Dog Ningen, and so many people in the community know about it, and it's a very popular manga.
Yeah.
Like, it's the only person that has somehow effectively in our community made a successful manga. And it's just like nobody else has. And I can guarantee you, if Blake gripes with his infinite knowledge about how to write stories, that he could not make a series as good as Dog Ningen.
Yeah. No, 100%.
They only exist to assure the viewer that what they're seeing is a better version of the exact same thing that they already saw. You replace creativity with the lie of progress. It's vertical progression rather than horizontal. It's being given a video game sword with a higher damage number. It has the same animations. It changes nothing about your personal agency as a player. It just has a bigger number. Toriyama is not creative when it comes to power sets.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, no.
Powers are almost always physical, straightforward, and don't require any level of thought to understand. Most are just balls of...
Then why did you say it was convoluted earlier? Why were you complaining that it was convoluted and stupid and hard to understand and that there's no...
Because he's a hypocrite.
Like, it's just like, did you even read your own script? Did you have somebody read your own script to see whether or not you were actually, like, logically consistent throughout the entire thing?
We both know he didn't.
No. You did not.
of light in different colors, which is funny for a colorless manga. I think if you threw a single JoJo stand user into Dragon Ball, or hell, a psychic with their own territory from Yu Yu Hakusho into Dragon Ball, or the fucking Death Note, Goku and everyone else would be dead within a week for how stupid they all are, and how dumb their movesets all are.
What?
The Death Note wouldn't work on Goku.
Yep, and I made an entire video on that if you want to go check that out.
As for like a psychic domain, I don't know how that's Yu Yu Hakusho, but like wouldn't Ki just do the same thing?
Well, it's just like these characters are so fucking slow that none of their domains would actually be able to like effectively work on them. I mean, I think probably Goku, like, you need to kind of reevaluate whether or not Goku could like.
People say that DB's power system is simplistic. Don't realize. Well, I think it's simple doesn't mean bad.
Yeah.
Like it's, I would say it's elegant. It's streamlined. It's elegant. It's intuitive. It's not like trying to explain how to play chess to someone or like a MOBA. It's this really good thing. It's solid. It's like a block of concrete.
Yeah.
You can build on it. You can expand it. It's good.
Yeah, and sometimes like it's hard for other people to get into other series because of how complex their power system is in it. In order for them to better enjoy the series, they need to like watch other people explain it to them. Like I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of Hunter x Hunter fans that don't actually understand how Nen works.
Yeah,
and that
sorry. I was gonna say not every series needs a 90-page document detailing its metaphysics.
Yeah. Like, we literally have one chapter in Dragon Ball that gives a very basic explanation of how Ki works. Like, one chapter explains it all. And then Plague of Gripes spent like 5 minutes of his own video going over actual examples.
$5 super chat. I've had a little bit too much. That name. Imagine pretending Deborah, Boo, and the Saiyan Saga Vegeta all fight the same way. Hell, look at Goldo, who is purposely weaker than those around him. Yeah, no facts. Sure. Spit.
Definitely. Let's finish this godforsaken video, which was way worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yep.
So why make this video? I don't monetize this shit unless Toei claims it and seizes it. This could get 500,000 views or 5,000, and I would not care. I make my living off Patreon. Who cares? I bring this up mainly because I get fucking tired of people bitching about power levels. How come Krillin can hold back Goku's Kamehameha? Why would Roshi make false dodge? He should just be able to just take the punches. Why is 17 so strong all of a sudden? How come children could be born as strong as a super... Oh, wait, that's Z, so that gets a free pass, doesn't it? It doesn't matter.
Pause.
Roshi being...
The one time that we actually get like a anti-Powerscaling square, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, people do debate about Goten and Trunks though, and it's mainly Super Saiyan gene theory versus like being raised and not having to fight. That's another one people say. Nate saying brother. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm about to cut a promo on Nate here in a second.
Mm-hmm. Outclassed in power, but managing to beat people with creativity is exactly what Dragon Ball should be. Do not complain about it. Don't fetishize Z over God's sakes GT and say it did it better. When you compliment or ignore the writing problems Toriyama created, you're also undermining the hard work better writers put into their own work. Don't be that guy. Don't be an enabler and pussyfoot away from pointing out that Super is doing this shit again with Jiren. Just...
But Jiren's good.
It's just like, I'm saying don't be in the enabler and try to like tell people like that Dragon Ball is like this really bad series because like supposedly Toriyama has all these like huge writing flaws which aren't actually writing flaws at all, just because you don't like them, and and just because it's too simplistic for you, that all of a sudden that makes the series bad. And Dane coming in with another $5. Yeah. Like, I'm not a fan of Dragon Ball, but this is just slander to rage bait. There are valid criticisms we can have, but this is purposely obtuse.
Yeah, no, facts. Like a big. My phone pinched hair. That was painful. No, a big criticism I have of Dragon Ball is I don't really like the multiple trips in Super that they had to take to the future. I think it should have been one trip, right? Mm-hmm. I also don't like the Vegeta jobs a lot, right?
Yeah.
So.
Look at it for what it is. It's okay to like something, but acknowledge its shitty writing. This is just entertainment. It's not a religion or something. Toriyama is a terrible writer. His strengths are...
No, he's not! If he was a terrible writer, then Dragon Ball wouldn't have like become as popular of a series as it became, and why it's become the godfather of shonen, and because of why so many mangaka see it as a major inspiration.
Yeah, Dragon Ball is good.
Plague of Gripes comes off to me as like the type of person that would unironically joke about Toriyama's death the day after it happened.
He might have.
Like,
someone can go check. Alright.
Yeah, I'm definitely disliking this video. This was really poorly written. Really bad. I'm surprised it has as many likes as it does.
Gags, drawing poo-poo on sticks, and general whimsy. Don't do things like pretend that the Cell games were well written, when it was an abomination of artificially created tension. That's yet another video. But I don't blame you. Like I said at the start, power levels are a part of Dragon Ball. Just like racism is a part of your Uncle Joey. You have to address things for what they are, not what they should be. Does Super's power scaling make any sense for how Z was written? No, it is not internally consistent.
That's a lie.
Everyone in the series...
It is actually internally consistent. Dumbass.
Pretty remarkably consistent.
Like, it's incredibly consistent, and I could fight anybody on that. Funny enough, we've had this one dude who I recently had to block on Twitter, by the way. Like, keep coming to me because he's the one of the few people that thinks that like that Super Saiyan 2 Gohan would beat up Super Saiyan 2 Kaba. And that
he's one of those people.
Yeah, remember the guy that said that Super Saiyan Beyond Gone was apparently retconned and everything?
What's wild is like we've talked to people about it who are like outside of that weird sphere. No one gets why people started arguing it.
Yeah.
Alright, let's finish the video.
Should be completely useless, and so far behind it's impossible for them to catch up. But that would be a horrible story if some fans actually got their way. If your setting is that toxic, change your setting. I don't care if it's internally inconsistent with the cancer that Toriyama infected the series with. I don't care if your Uncle Joey doesn't want to go to Subway because an Indian family runs it. He can fuck off, because he is the least valuable component to your experience. Power levels are a narrative crutch, and nothing else. The Feats...
They're not.
No, simple as that.
Strength has remained generally the same since Dragon Ball. Nothing has changed. When Super or anything else ignores power levels, yes, acknowledge it. But also realize your Uncle Joey is a stupid bitch. And if Uncle Joey doesn't like Roshi, he can fuck out the Fazoli's.
Man, that felt like a massive projection. It's like...
Yeah.
That
think...
came off as a massive projection, bro.
Yeah. Alright, well, it was a good stream, everybody.
Man, that was so much longer than it needed to be.
Yeah, that video sucked.
That
Oh, God.
was so bad.
Yeah.
Like, really bad.
Yeah, really, no, that was terrible. Man. Hopefully next week we have something better.
Yeah.
Ideally, right?
Yeah. The video was really old. Yeah, and it
was still bad.
It was so much worse.
It was terrible, dude.
Oh my god, the poll was 50-50, by the way.
Yeah, really
it was
bad.
48. Another $5 from Dane. Why the hell are we conflating I don't like this writing with actual racism? You have got me there, Dane. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I know. I don't know either.
Plague of Grapes is a character in himself, and I don't want to ever taunt it. He is like the biggest, like, fun killer I have ever seen out of anybody who's ever hated power scaling.
Oh.
But he also ultimately did prove that a lot of these anti-power scalers are effectively the same. Because, like, when in doubt, like, cite Hunter x Hunter as, like, the perfect example for, like, what a good power system is. And everything else is just, like, that's too simplistic. It's just bullshit.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I hate the Hunter x Hunter argument so much.
Like, I like Hunter, and it's a good series, but it gets brought up so much as, like, this perfect series that can't do no wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's weird to criticize an action-adventure series for characters consistently getting stronger. Agreed.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. God, that video was just so horrendously bad.
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
Ugh. How did 1.9 million people watch that?
Man, so weird.
Man, I don't even want to remember what his, like, the self-made hypocrite video was. But me and Noodles were definitely gonna have to watch that one, because that's definitely gonna be funny for a lot of people to watch. But yeah, I think we've definitely had this stream run its course. It's 2.5 hours.
Yeah, no, for sure.
How do these keep getting worse and worse anyway? The heart of the cards, my friend.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel, dude. That's what we're doing here.
Yep, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. But anyway, I think we're going to end the stream here. It's been long enough. I need to go to bed. If any of y'all have some good stream suggestions for next week, feel free to join my server and put in the suggestions react here channel. But until next Sunday, thank you all for watching. And class is dismissed. Say goodbye, Hashi.
Yeah, see